Why is the sky blue? Really, have you ever truly looked up? Not just a quick glance, but really seen the sky. It's a color we take for granted, isn't it? That vast, endless blue feels constant. But why is it that specific shade? Here's the thing. Sunlight holds all the rainbow's colors, an invisible blend. As this light travels through our atmosphere, it hits tiny air particles. These particles scatter blue light more than any other color. Imagine tiny invisible mirrors, bouncing blue light everywhere. Your eyes catch all that scattered blue, painting our world. Red and yellow light travel more directly, which is why we see them at sunrise or sunset, giving us those fiery glows. For thousands of years, people simply saw the blue and wondered. They told stories, gods painting the sky, or the ocean reflecting. No scientific answer for a long time, but even with science, that wonder doesn't disappear. Knowing how it happens adds another layer to the mystery, not less beauty. It's a bit like being in a dusty room. If you shine a flashlight across it, you see the beam, right? Light bounces off the tiny dust. Our atmosphere is like that room, full of tiny particles, showing off the blue dot. So, the sky isn't just blue. It's how light dances with our world. It reminds us that everyday things, even ones we barely notice, hold deep, beautiful truths if we just stop to ask why. Beauty can be explained by science, but it's never fully taken away. The blue sky is always there, waiting for us to really see it, to feel its vastness, and to wonder. Sometimes, simple questions lead to profound understanding. What if colors didn't exist? Can you imagine a world without the fiery orange of a sunset, or the calm, deep blue of the ocean? What would that even feel like? It's not just about things being black and white. It's about how we understand light, and how our eyes and brains turn different parts of that light into what we call color. Here's the thing. Colors aren't really in objects themselves. They are a dance between light bouncing off surfaces and your brain, making sense of it. People have thought about this for a very long time. Ancient thinkers, many years ago, wondered if colors were real things out there in the world, or just ideas that lived inside our minds. Then, much later, scientists like Isaac Newton showed us something amazing. He discovered that white light, like from the sun, is actually all colors mixed together. He used a special piece of glass, called a prism, to split it apart, revealing a hidden rainbow. This proved that color is about light, and how it bends and shows itself. Think about your favorite t-shirt. Maybe it's a bright, cheerful yellow, but if you were in a room that was completely dark, you couldn't tell its color, could you? Your brain wouldn't get the light information it needs. And some animals, like many dogs, see fewer colors than we do. Their world is still rich and full of life, but it's just seen differently. This shows us how much our eyes and brains work together to build the world we experience. If colors suddenly vanished, our world wouldn't just be dull. It would be a profound loss, a quiet sadness. We'd lose a big part of how we feel emotions, how we remember moments, and how we connect with the world around us. The warmth of a yellow flower, the comforting green of a forest. These sensations are tied deeply to our feelings. It makes you realize that even simple things, like a single color, are powerful gifts. They shape how we experience joy, curiosity, and wonder every single day, and that's why it matters. Do animals dream like we do? Have you ever watched your pet sleeping? Maybe a dog twitching its paws, or a cat making little soft noises. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? When our own minds take us on wild journeys in sleep, do their minds do the same? We call these adventures dreams. For us, they can be thrilling, confusing, or even a little scary. But what happens in the quiet, sleeping world of a squirrel in a tree or a fish in the deep blue? For a long time, people thought dreams were just for humans. Some ancient cultures, though, believed animals had spirits and feelings, meaning they might dream too. Later, some scientists saw animals more like simple machines, without deep thoughts or feelings like ours. But our understanding keeps growing. Now, we know animals feel joy, fear, and sadness. So, what about dreams? Think about your own day. When you sleep, your brain works to sort through all the things you saw and learned. It's like a quiet editor, filing away memories, sometimes making up strange stories along the way. When scientists study animals like dogs and rats, they see brainwave patterns during sleep that look really similar to human REM sleep. That's the stage where our most vivid dreams happen. It's like their brains are replaying their day, too. Maybe your dog dreams of chasing that squirrel it saw in the park, or the smell of dinner cooking. Maybe a bird dreams of flying across an open sky. This idea connects us in a beautiful way, doesn't it? It suggests that the quiet, secret world of dreaming isn't just ours alone. It might be a shared experience, a silent language spoken by all living things that close their eyes and rest. Perhaps in those hidden hours of sleep, we are all part of a grand shared story, processing our lives, day by day, breath by breath. It's a thought that brings a gentle wonder, hinting that maybe we are all more alike than we imagined. Where do lost socks go? You know that feeling, right? When one sock just vanishes from the dryer, leaving its partner all alone. It's a small thing, this missing piece of cloth, but sometimes it stirs a tiny, quiet question inside us. Where did it actually go? It can feel like a gentle mystery. Here's the thing, this isn't really just about socks. It's about all the little disappearances in our lives, a forgotten memory that almost surfaced, a quiet thought that slipped from your grasp. These moments remind us of things we can't quite hold on to. People have always wondered about the unseen. Even wise thinkers from long ago asked why some things simply are, without needing a full answer. They knew the question itself often holds a deep kind of meaning, inviting us to look beyond what we can immediately see. Think about a wave on the ocean. It rises, crashes to shore, then blends back into the vast sea. We watch it, knowing it's part of something bigger, always moving and changing. Our lost socks are a bit like that wave, a tiny everyday example of things moving out of our sight. It reminds us that our world is full of small shifts, little disappearances we can't always explain, and that's why it matters. Maybe those lost socks remind us to be okay with not knowing everything, to find comfort in the unknown. They invite us to wonder, to accept that some parts of life are just gentle mysteries woven into our ordinary days. They don't need a grand solution, just a moment of soft thought, a calm acceptance of what is, and what quietly slips away. What makes a memory stick? Have you ever wondered why some moments stay with you, bright and clear, like a perfect photo, while others just drift away like smoke? Here's the thing, memories aren't just recordings. Our brains don't work like cameras or tape recorders, simply storing everything we see and hear. Instead, a memory is something we build, piece by piece, often without even realizing it. It's like a story we tell ourselves, and some stories are just so important, so full of feeling, that they become glued into our minds. People have been curious about this for a very long time. Thousands of years ago, great thinkers wondered if memories were like imprints left on our minds, like footsteps in soft earth. They knew some experiences made a deeper mark than others, and they were right. What makes a memory truly stick isn't just seeing something, it's feeling something. The more emotion tied to an event, whether it's joy, surprise, fear, or deep sadness, the stronger the connection forms in our brain. Think of it like this. Imagine a path in a big grassy field. If only a few people walk on it, the grass quickly grows back, and the path fades. But if many people walk the same path, day after day, it becomes a clear, worn trail that's hard to miss. Our brains work in a similar way. Each time we remember something, especially something connected to a strong emotion, we walk that memory path again. It gets clearer, deeper, easier to find. So, a memory of a big laugh with friends, or the feeling when you finally understood a tough problem, those paths get walked often, making them strong. And that's why these sticky memories are so special. They aren't just facts about the past. They are the feelings, the sounds, the smells, the very essence of a moment that has settled into your heart and mind. They shape who you are, guiding you, reminding you, softly whispering about everything you've experienced. Is time just a feeling we have? Have you ever really stopped to think about time? Not the clock on the wall, but how it feels inside you. Sometimes a single class can drag on forever. Right, the clock barely moves. But then, a whole summer vacation can vanish in a blink, like it was never even there. So, what's happening? Is time a steady river, always flowing at the same speed? Or is it more like a feeling our minds create? For a long time, people have wondered about this. Thinkers from ancient times sometimes saw time not just as a ticking measurement, but as something deeply connected to how we experience life. It's like our inner rhythm. When we're bored or sad, every second can feel heavy and long. It's hard to get through. But when we're lost in something we love, drawing, playing a sport, talking with a best friend, hours can disappear without us even noticing. It just feels like one long, beautiful moment. Here's the thing. Studies in psychology show our perception of time is super flexible. Our brains don't just record events, they interpret them. If you're waiting for a doctor's appointment, those 10 minutes can feel like an eternity because you're anxious. But if you're laughing with friends, an hour can feel like 10 minutes. It's less about the actual seconds passing and more about our emotional state and what our attention is focused on. Our feelings stretch and squeeze time. So maybe time isn't just something that passes by us. Maybe it's also something that lives within us, shaped by our hearts and minds. And if that's true, then every moment, every feeling, becomes a precious part of the time we have. It makes you wonder how you're truly spending those feelings, doesn't it? Every second is a chance to feel something, to be present. Why do we laugh out loud? Have you ever just burst out laughing? It's a funny thing, isn't it? One moment you're listening, and the next, this bubbling sound comes out. Your stomach might ache, your eyes might water. It usually feels good. But what is this feeling? This sound? Why does it happen? Think about it. Laughter is a release. It's our body's way of letting things out. Sometimes it's pure joy, like a great joke. Other times, it's a way to deal with nervousness or even awkwardness. It's almost like a pressure valve for our feelings, letting the steam out. People have wondered about laughter for thousands of years. Some ancient thinkers, like old Greek philosophers, thought it came from feeling smarter or seeing a problem suddenly fixed. But here's the thing. It's probably much deeper. Some scientists think it's a very old part of being human, a way our ancestors showed they were safe and friendly, a signal that said, hey, I'm okay, you're okay. It helped build bonds. Imagine you and your friends watching a silly video. Someone trips harmlessly, or a cat misses a big jump. Suddenly, everyone explodes with laughter. It's contagious, right? One person starts, then another, and soon the whole group is cracking up. That shared sound, that goofy connection, makes everyone feel closer. It takes away tension, leaving warmth. So, when we laugh, it's more than just noise. It's a powerful signal. It tells others we're happy, or that we understand a shared moment. It brings us together. It's a beautiful, wonderful way our hearts and minds speak, even without words. In that shared sound, we find what it means to truly connect. It's a simple sound that carries so much meaning, linking us through joy and understanding. What if my shadow had a mind? Have you ever really looked at your shadow? Not just seen it, but thought about it. It's always there, following you, mirroring your every move. But what if it wasn't just a dark shape? What if it had its own thoughts, its own feelings, even its own quiet dreams? Imagine your shadow deciding, today, I feel like staying home, while you're trying to walk to school. That would be pretty strange, right? For a long, long time, people have wondered about shadows. Ancient stories sometimes saw shadows as a piece of a person's soul, or even a separate spirit tied to you. They believed if you lost your shadow, you lost a part of yourself. It was like your secret twin, always present, but never truly speaking. This idea makes you think, is there a part of me that's always there, watching, but I never truly acknowledge? Think about how you sometimes feel two different ways about the same thing. Maybe you want to try out for the school play, but another part of you feels super shy and wants to hide. It's like one part of you wants to step into the light, and another part wants to stay in the shadows. This isn't literally your shadow thinking, but it's a way we can understand having these hidden sides. It's the part of you that keeps quiet when you're loud, or holds back when you want to leap forward. So, if your shadow did have a mind, maybe it would represent all the parts of you that you don't always show the world. The worries you keep to yourself, the secret hopes, even the little quirks you hide. It might be asking, what about me? What about the quieter moments, the unspoken feelings? Thinking about your shadow this way isn't about being scared. It's about wondering what else makes you, you. It's about realizing that even the parts of us we don't fully see are still important. And sometimes, understanding them can help us understand ourselves better. It's a quiet invitation to look deeper. Can a single thought change things? Have you ever really considered a single idea, a quiet little spark that just appears in your mind? It seems so small, doesn't it? Just a thought, floating around like a cloud. But here's the thing. Sometimes, these tiny sparks can light up bigger changes. Not like a fire you can see, but a shift in how you feel or what you do. Imagine the first person who looked at birds and thought, what if we could fly? That was just a thought, a simple question filled with hope. That one idea led to drawings, then early flying machines, and eventually, the planes we see today. For thousands of years, people have wondered how powerful our thoughts truly are. Ancient thinkers, like those in Greece, believed our inner world shapes everything outside us. They said what we think and feel inside is just as real and important as what we touch, and that's why it matters. If you believe your thoughts have quiet power, you start to pay more attention. You realize your mind isn't just where thoughts happen, it's where things can begin. Think about how your own day can change. You wake up, and a thought pops in. This is going to be a tough day. Suddenly, little things seem worse. A dropped pencil, a confusing math problem, they all feel heavier. But here's what happens if you start with a different thought. Today might hold something interesting, even small. You might then notice the beautiful light, or hear a favorite song. It's not magic. Your brain just starts looking for things that match your first idea. It's like a tiny ripple spreading across a calm pond. One small stone, one simple thought, sends out gentle waves that reach far away. It might not cause a huge splash right away, but that quiet moment of choosing a thought, of holding an idea, can slowly, softly, change how you see the world. And when you see things differently, you often act differently. And when you act differently, the world around you starts to respond. So, yes, a single thought. It might just be the very quiet beginning of everything important. What's beyond the edge of space? Have you ever looked up at the night sky, seeing all those tiny lights, and felt a quiet, powerful question grow inside you? What if space just ends? It's a huge thought, one that can make your stomach do a little flip, leaving you breathless. For a long time, people have asked this. Ancient thinkers, living when the world felt flat, often imagined the sky as a solid dome. Beyond it, maybe more sky, maybe a magical realm, or just a deep, dark emptiness. But here's the thing about space. It isn't like a room with physical walls. You can't fly in a spaceship, hit a boundary, and stop. Scientists today often talk about the observable universe. This means everything we can see or detect from Earth. Light takes time to travel, so the farther away something is, the longer its light has been traveling to reach us. What we see are things as they were long ago. There's a limit to how far light could have traveled since the Big Bang, when the universe began. That's our edge, the edge of what we can ever hope to see or know directly. Imagine you're blowing up a balloon, and you're a tiny ant on its surface. As the balloon gets bigger, its surface expands everywhere. If you try to walk, you can go and go. You'll never find an edge or a wall to fall off. You just keep going on that expanding surface. The universe might be a lot like that, but in all directions. It might be truly endless, or it might even loop back on itself in a way we can't even picture. So, the question isn't really about hitting a solid wall. It's more about what infinity truly means, or what it means for something to be without end. This question humbles us, reminding us how much true mystery still fills our world and beyond. It shows us that sometimes the most profound answers aren't simple facts. They are just more questions waiting to be asked. It makes you feel small, yes, but also part of something much bigger and more amazing. And that feeling, that sense of wonder, is a beautiful thing. If a tree falls, does it make a sound? This question seems simple, but it goes deeper than you might think. Have you considered what sound actually is? If a tree crashes down where no one is around, does it truly make a sound? Here's the thing. When a tree falls, it creates vibrations in the air. Those vibrations are real. You can measure them. But sound itself, that's what happens when those vibrations reach an ear, travel through tiny bones, and then get turned into electrical signals by your brain. Without an ear to hear it, those vibrations are just movement. They don't become the experience of sound. People have thought about this for ages. Philosophers, long ago, used questions like this to wonder about reality. They asked if things only exist when we perceive them, or if they exist on their own. It makes you think, right? Think about it like this. The color red. A red apple isn't actually red on its own. It's just reflecting certain wavelengths of light. Our eyes see those waves, and our brain translates them into red. If no one's looking, those waves are still there. But the experience of red eyes sends single quotes to. When that tree falls, the vibrations are there. But the sound, that part waits for you. It waits for a living being to interpret those waves, to give them meaning. It shows us that sometimes our own presence, our own awareness, helps create the world we experience. What we witness, what we pay attention to, comes alive for us. Why do people disagree so much? It's a question that can feel heavy sometimes. Have you ever felt that knot in your stomach when someone just doesn't see things your way? It's like you're both looking at the same painting, but one sees vibrant colors and the other only shadows. Here's the thing, our disagreements aren't just about right or wrong. They're about all the hidden paths that led us to think what we think. Think about it. Even ancient thinkers, long ago, saw that people looked at the world differently. They knew our minds are like unique filters. No two filters are exactly the same. We all grow up with different stories, different lessons, different feelings shaping us. Imagine you're standing with a friend, both looking at a big, old tree. You might notice the strong, twisted branches, remembering climbing trees as a kid. Your friend might notice the bright green leaves, thinking about the fresh air it makes. Both are true, but your experiences make you see different things first. It's not that one of you is wrong. It's just that your inner world colors what you see. So when people disagree, it's often not because someone is trying to be difficult. It's because their unique filter, their whole life's journey, has shown them a different part of the truth. Maybe they felt something you didn't feel. Maybe they learned something you haven't yet. And that's okay. It's actually a chance to peek through someone else's filter, even just for a moment, to try and understand their world, not just your own. It reminds us that our own view, while important, is just one piece of a much larger, more beautiful puzzle. What makes a story truly good? Have you ever read a book or watched a movie that just stayed with you? Like days later, you're still turning over ideas from it in your head. Here's the thing. It's not always about dragons or spaceships or big explosions. A truly good story isn't just about exciting events happening one after another. It's about how those events make us feel. It's about the quiet truths hidden within the plot, even if the plot itself is completely made up. Great stories reach past the words on the page and touch something real inside us. They make us think about our own lives, our own choices, and the world around us. They connect us to something bigger, something shared. For thousands of years, people have understood this power. Ancient Greeks had their elaborate myths, explaining the stars, the seasons, and human nature. Long before written books, elders shared simple tales around fires, passing down lessons. They used stories to teach, to warn, and to help everyone understand life's biggest mysteries. They weren't just telling facts. They were sharing wisdom about what it means to be human. Think about when you try to explain something really confusing to a friend. You don't just list a bunch of facts. Instead, you usually tell a small story, maybe an example from your own day. Remember when I lost my phone yesterday, and how frustrated and scared I felt? That's kind of like how the main character felt when they realized their important treasure was gone. That personal connection, that shared feeling, makes the message stick. Our brains remember things tied to strong emotions well. When a story taps into feelings like fairness, fear, or hope, it creates a powerful memory for us, even if it's fiction. So here's what I found. A truly good story helps us understand ourselves and each other better. It shines a light on parts of life we might not have seen clearly before. It whispers, "You are not alone in feeling this way." It might not give us all the answers, but it makes us feel understood. And that's often exactly what we need to keep asking questions. Is being brave always easy? When we see someone act bravely, does it look effortless? Like they just don't feel fear? Here's the thing. True bravery often looks a lot like fear. It's not about never being scared. It's about feeling that fear deep in your bones, that knot in your stomach, and choosing to move forward anyway. It's when your heart pounds, your palms sweat, and your voice shakes, but you still speak up, or take that first step. It's a quiet, profound battle fought within yourself. For thousands of years, people have wrestled with this feeling. Ancient thinkers, like the philosophers in old Greece, understood that courage wasn't the absence of fear, but the ability to face it. They knew our human nature means we will feel scared sometimes, and they saw that truly brave acts come from mastering that inner struggle. This difficult dance with fear is something all humans have shared across time. Think about it like this. Imagine you're about to give a presentation to your whole class. Your stomach might clench, your hands might get a little sweaty. That's your body's natural fight or flight response, kicking in, trying to protect you. But being brave isn't having those feelings vanish. It's taking that deep breath, walking to the front of the room, and starting to speak, even with a little wobble in your voice. It's the choice to face that moment, rather than letting the fear hold you back. It's never easy, but it's a powerful step. So no, bravery is almost never easy. It's usually hard, it's messy, But it's in those tough moments, when you choose courage over comfort, that you discover a quiet strength inside you. It's a deep, personal victory. It teaches you that you are capable of so much more than you thought. What if I could talk to plants? Have you ever looked at an old tree, its branches reaching wide, and wondered what stories it could tell? Or watched a tiny seedling push through the earth, full of silent determination? What if you could actually hear them? Not with human words, maybe, but truly understand their silent language. For a long time, people across the world believed plants had deep secrets, even spirits. Ancient cultures often spoke of plants as teachers or healers. Listening to their subtle changes, they felt a connection, a quiet wisdom held within the leaves and roots. It wasn't about a spoken conversation, but a deeper kind of knowing, a feeling of understanding what the plant needed or what it was trying to show them. Think about how you understand a pet. Your dog doesn't use words to say it's hungry, but you get it, right? The way it looks at its bowl, or wags its tail when you pick up the leash, you understand without a single word. Plants are a bit like that. When a leaf turns yellow, or a flower droops, it's telling you something. It's saying, I'm thirsty, or I need more sunlight. It's a kind of communication, a quiet call for help, if we just pay attention. Imagine the wisdom held by a redwood that has stood for 1,000 years. It's seen seasons change, storms pass, and generations of animals. What if listening to plants means learning to listen to the slow, steady rhythm of life itself? Maybe it means opening our hearts to the quiet wonder that lives all around us, in every green leaf and sturdy stem. Perhaps we already speak their language, in the way we care for them, and in the way they quietly offer us beauty, oxygen, and life. It's about remembering that everything is connected, and everything has a voice, even if it's whispered on the wind. How do feelings work in my brain? Have you ever stopped to wonder where that sudden twist in your stomach comes from when you're nervous? Or the warmth that spreads through you when a friend smiles? It feels like magic, but here's the thing. It's all happening inside your amazing brain. This is a big question, one that people have thought about for thousands of years. Long ago, philosophers like the ancient Greeks believed our feelings lived in our heart or even our liver. They saw the body react and tried to make sense of it. But we know now the real stage for all our feelings is our brain. It's like your brain is a vast, intricate control room, humming with activity. Different parts light up and send messages, a bit like a huge network of tiny wires and chemical signals. When you feel something, say, a wave of sadness, it's not just one spot that's busy. It's a complex dance between several areas, all talking to each other. One part might recognize the memory that made you sad. Another might trigger the physical sensation of tears, and yet another might tell your body to slow down. Think of it like this. Imagine your brain is a deep forest at night, and your feelings are fireflies. When you hear a song you love, thousands of tiny fireflies blink on, creating a shimmering glow of joy across different parts of the forest. The memory fireflies might recall where you first heard it. The pleasure fireflies twinkle brightly, and the body sensation fireflies make your heart feel light. All those little lights work together to create the big, beautiful feeling you experience. And that's why it matters. So, while we might not always understand why we feel what we feel, knowing that our brain is constantly weaving this complex tapestry of emotions can bring a quiet sense of wonder. Our feelings are a constant, gentle reminder of the rich, complicated life happening inside us, shaping who we are, moment by moment. What's the point of homework? Do you ever stare at a math problem late at night, or flip through pages for a history project, and just think, why? Here's the thing. Homework often feels like a heavy weight, right? A pile of tasks piled on top of everything else in your day. But the deeper idea behind it isn't just to keep you busy or to punish you. It's usually about strengthening what you learned in class, giving those new ideas a quiet space to settle and become a part of you. The practice of learning outside the main lesson, doing extra work on your own, is actually a really old idea. Think about people trying to master a craft a long time ago. A blacksmith shaping metal, a painter learning brushstrokes, or even someone trying to tell stories that would move people. They didn't have homework with a due date, but they understood that real understanding, true mastery, comes from repetition. It comes from trying things out on your own, away from the teacher's watchful eye. It's about taking responsibility for your own learning, not just waiting for someone to feed you answers. It's about building something within yourself. Here's what I mean. Imagine you're learning to play the guitar. You go to a lesson, and your teacher shows you a new chord. You strum it a few times in class, and it sounds okay. But if you don't pick up that guitar at home, later that day, if you don't practice those fingers until they ache a little, will you ever really play a song that truly sings? Probably not. The homework in this case isn't just busy. It's the quiet, often frustrating time you spend making the lesson your own. It's the deep effort that slowly turns into skill, into something truly beautiful. So, maybe homework isn't just about the grades on a report card. Maybe it's about building a different kind of muscle inside you, a muscle for sticking with something, even when it's hard, a muscle for patience, for the quiet, steady work of growing, and that's why it matters. It's a chance to find out what you're made of, away from the classroom noise, just you and the challenge. And sometimes, that quiet, persistent effort is where real, lasting strength truly grows. Where do new ideas actually come from? Have you ever wondered where a new idea truly comes from? It feels like a small magic trick, doesn't it? One moment, your mind is quiet. Then, a tiny spark ignites, and something new begins to form. Where does that spark truly originate? But here's the thing, it's rarely pure magic. Ideas often grow from what's already within us, or around us. They don't just spring from nothing. Instead, they are like quiet echoes, connections made between thoughts and feelings that were already there, just waiting to meet. People have asked this for ages. Ancient thinkers, like those in Greece, sometimes imagined all knowledge was already out there, just waiting. We needed to remember it, or find the path to uncover it, like pulling back a veil. Later, others believed new ideas were built, step by step, each discovery resting on the ones that came before. It's a slow, gentle climb, a conversation reaching across human history. Think about something simple. Maybe you're trying to arrange your bedroom. You look at your clothes, your posters, your books. You might remember a picture you saw online of a cool room, or how your favorite store organizes its displays. Your brain takes these pieces, your room, the picture, the store's layout, and gently mixes them. Suddenly, an idea forms. What if I move my bed to that wall and add floating shelves, like a tiny art gallery? That idea wasn't born from nothing. It came from your experiences, your observations, and the quiet weaving of separate threads into a fresh pattern. It's like finding a new path by connecting old familiar roads. So new ideas aren't dropped onto us from somewhere far away. They are more like quiet songs our minds compose, using all the melodies we've heard, all the colors we've seen, all the feelings we've known. Every book you read, every conversation you have, every moment you just sit and think, these are all tiny sparks. They gather and mix until a new, bright flame appears. And that's a beautiful thought, isn't it? It means that within each of us, there's a deep well of possibility, constantly gathering elements for the next amazing idea, just waiting for its moment to gently emerge. Can silence be loud sometimes? Have you ever sat in a room and it was completely quiet, but it didn't feel quiet at all? It felt full, maybe even a little overwhelming. Here's the thing, silence isn't always just the absence of sound. Sometimes, it's packed with meaning. It can be a space where thoughts get really loud, where feelings we usually push down rise to the surface. It's like your mind turns up the volume on everything inside you. The quiet lets all that inner stuff get really, really intense. Wise people from long ago often talked about silence. They believed true understanding often comes not from talking, but from listening to the quiet. Philosophers might say that in silence, we confront ourselves. It's where we hear our own conscience, or the echoes of words left unsaid. It's not about what's not there, but about what is there, hidden beneath everyday noise. Imagine you've just had a big argument with a friend. After all the yelling, there's suddenly a quiet. It's not peaceful, is it? It's heavy. That silence is screaming with all the feelings, anger, sadness, regret. You can almost feel the unspoken things hanging in the air. Or think about waiting for important news. The silence before the phone rings can feel like the longest, most intense sound. It's your hopes and fears yelling. So silence can be a powerful mirror. It shows us what's truly going on inside, what we're really feeling. It teaches us to pay attention to more than just sounds. And that's why it matters. By learning to listen to the loud silence, we can better understand ourselves. It's a quiet moment, but it can hold a universe of feeling. What if yesterday never ended? Have you ever stopped to wonder what it would be like if yesterday just kept going? Not just a feeling, but actually, truly, the same day repeating, endlessly. Imagine waking up, and the clock says the same date, the same everything. The light coming through your window feels familiar. The sounds outside are the exact same ones you heard before. It's like the world's biggest pause button got stuck. Every conversation, every choice, every small moment would happen again, and again. There would be no tomorrow. This idea of time looping or repeating isn't new. Some ancient thinkers and storytellers thought about time as a circle, not a straight line. They wondered if everything that happened would eventually happen again, exactly the same way. It's a bit like when you play a favorite song on repeat for hours. At first, it's great. You know every beat. But then, a quiet ache starts. You begin to miss the surprise of a new melody, the feeling of hearing something for the very first time. Think about learning. When you're trying to master a skill, like playing a new guitar chord or getting a specific shot in basketball, you repeat it. You do the same thing over and over until you get it right. But that's usually because you want to move forward, to get better. If yesterday never ended, there would be no getting better in the usual sense. There would be no fresh starts. No new chances to try something completely different. Here's the thing, our lives are built on moving forward. They are about today turning into tomorrow. This constant flow is what makes moments special, because they only happen once. The thought of yesterday never ending makes us see how precious each new day is. Each morning brings a chance for something truly new, a chance to choose a different path, to learn a new lesson, or simply to feel a different kind of sun on our face. It reminds us to really feel the now, because it won't come back this way again. Why do we celebrate birthdays? Have you ever really stopped to think about it? Why do we pick one day out of 365 and make it so special, just for one person? It's more than just cake and presents, even though those are fun. It's a quiet, powerful acknowledgement that you are here, right now. That your unique journey began on that specific date. It's a day to pause and say, hey, you made it another year. You're growing. Think about it like this. Every single person, every life, began its story on a specific day. Long ago, people marked birthdays to track ages, or even to protect someone from bad spirits, on a day they believed was vulnerable. But over time, that ancient idea grew into something much deeper. It became a way to honor life itself, the very act of existing. It's a way to stop and truly see someone, to appreciate who they are and how they've grown. Here's the thing, your life is like a vast, unfolding storybook. Each year, on your birthday, it's like turning a page to a brand new chapter. You get a chance to look back at the adventures, the small triumphs, the quiet lessons learned in the pages behind you. And then, with a deep breath, you turn to a fresh, clean page. This new chapter is full of unknown possibilities and waiting stories. It's not just about getting older. It's about growing, changing, and continually discovering who you are. So, when we gather with family and friends, or even just sit quietly with our own thoughts on that day, we're doing something deeply human. We're celebrating the sheer wonder of existence. We're recognizing the unique spark that is you, and the quiet strength it takes to journey on. And that's why it matters. It's a precious moment to feel truly seen, to feel loved, and to simply be grateful for the amazing, messy, beautiful fact that you get to be here, right now, writing your own incredible story, page by page. What makes me, well, me? Have you ever stopped to wonder what makes you, well, you? It's a big question, right? Like, why are you not exactly like your best friend, or your sibling? Even if you grew up in the same house, saw the same things, you're different. Every single one of us is like a secret code, unique and special. This isn't just about what you look like. It's about how you think, what makes you laugh, what makes you mad, what you dream about at night. All these tiny pieces fit together to make the person only you can be. For thousands of years, people have tried to figure this out. Way back, ancient Greek thinkers would sit and talk for hours, wondering, what is the soul? What is it that makes us truly ourselves, beyond our bodies? They knew it was important. This feeling of being an individual, it's not just a new idea for our time. People have always looked inward, trying to understand that special spark. Think about your favorite song. It has a beat, lyrics, a melody, but what makes it your favorite? It's how it makes you feel, the memories it brings up, the way it just connects with something inside you. Someone else might not care for that song at all. That's a bit like identity. We all have similar ingredients, emotions, thoughts, bodies, but the way those ingredients are mixed the order they come in, the strength of each one. That's your unique recipe. It's like a fingerprint, completely yours, even if everyone else has fingers to dot. And here's the thing, this recipe changes. We grow, we learn, we experience new things. The you today isn't exactly the you from last year, and it won't be the same you next year. And that's okay. In fact, it's beautiful. It means you're always becoming, always discovering new parts of yourself. It's a journey, not a fixed point. So, what makes you, well, you? It's a question that doesn't have one simple answer. It's a lifelong exploration, and it's perhaps the most interesting one you'll ever take. Is the future already set for us? Have you ever stopped to wonder if your life's path is already carved out for you? If everything that happens, from a small giggle to a big challenge, is somehow already decided before you even get there? It's a deep question, and people have thought about it for thousands of years. Philosophers in ancient Greece debated if humans truly have free will, meaning we make our own decisions, or if fate or destiny quietly guides everything. Some old stories even tell of prophecies, where a future is known long before it happens. Here's the thing, it's like wondering if you're watching a movie where the ending is already filmed and locked in, no matter what the characters do, or if you're actually writing the script as you go. Imagine a line of dominoes. Once you push the first one, the rest are almost guaranteed to fall in a certain way. The path is clear, the outcome set. But our everyday lives often feel different. You choose what to wear this morning, or which friend to text. You pick what to study, or what book to read. Each choice feels important, like it shifts things, steering you in one direction. This idea can make us feel small, like puppets, or it can make us feel powerful, like authors of our own stories. If the future is completely set, do our efforts even matter? But if we truly create our future, then every single thing we do becomes important. And that's why it matters to us. Maybe the answer isn't simple. Maybe the true wonder is in living with that question, in feeling the weight of our choices, and hoping that our kindness and our hard work really do make a difference. Even if there's a bigger plan out there, the feeling of choosing, of trying our best, feels incredibly real and very much ours. It's a beautiful mystery to carry with us. What if mirrors showed your thoughts? Imagine standing in front of your mirror, like you do every morning, but instead of just seeing your face looking back, you see something else. What if the glass showed all the buzzing thoughts in your head? The small worry about a math test, the happy memory of yesterday's soccer game, that quiet dream you have about something amazing. It would be wild, right? This isn't about seeing your reflection, but seeing your mind reflected. Every secret feeling, every sudden idea, every hidden fear, it would all be there, clear as day. For thousands of years, people have wondered about what's truly inside us. Ancient Greek thinkers, like Plato, talked about know thyself. They didn't have magic mirrors, but they knew that understanding your own thoughts was super important. They believed our inner world held our truest self. Think about a time you felt one way, but acted another. Maybe you were upset, but you smiled so no one would ask what was wrong. Or you felt shy, but tried to look confident. A normal mirror shows the smile, or the confident pose. But a thought mirror, it would show the sadness underneath, or the nervousness you were trying to hide. It would show the real story happening inside you, without any filters. It sounds a bit scary, doesn't it? To have everything out in the open like that, all your hopes and fears, right there for anyone to see if they looked over your shoulder. But here's the thing, maybe it would also make us more honest, more understanding. We'd see how complex everyone's minds are. And even though we don't have these magical mirrors, we still try to understand each other's inner worlds. We listen, we try to guess. It reminds us that our thoughts are precious, and sharing them takes trust and courage. It's a quiet reminder that what's inside often matters most. Can you truly know what someone else thinks? Have you ever looked at a friend, or even a stranger, and wondered what thoughts were spinning inside their head? It's a quiet question, but a powerful one. We see their smiles, hear their words, and watch their actions. But can we ever truly step into their mind and know their deepest fears, their secret hopes, or the exact feeling behind their eyes? Here's the thing, our thoughts are like a hidden garden, unique to each of us. No one else can walk through it in the same way you do. Thinkers for thousands of years, even ancient Greek philosophers, puzzled over this. They understood that what we show the world is often just a small window into the vast inner landscape of our minds. Your thoughts, your feelings, they are yours alone. Imagine your favorite song. You might tell a friend how much you love it, but you can't make them feel the exact shivers it gives you, or remember the specific memories it brings back. They hear the music, but their inner experience is different. Or consider how a doctor can ask you about your headache, but they can't actually feel your pain. They rely on your words, your body language, on what you choose to share. This beautiful, sometimes tricky, truth means we have to be gentle with each other. We can't simply scoop out someone else's thoughts and hold them in our hands. Instead, we learn to listen with our hearts, to look past the surface, and to offer kindness. We try to understand, knowing that true knowing might always be just out of reach. And maybe that mystery is what makes connecting with others so profound and so precious. We learn to trust, to share, and to respect the silent worlds within us all. Why do some songs make us sad? Isn't it strange how a melody, just a few notes put together, can make our eyes well up? It's like the song reaches inside us, pulling out feelings we didn't even know were there. Here's the thing, music has a secret power. It connects directly to our memories and feelings. It's almost like a hidden language our heart understands. For a long time, people have wondered about this. Thinkers from long ago, like the ancient Greeks, already knew music wasn't just sounds. They believed it could touch your soul and shape who you are. A famous philosopher named Plato said music was incredibly powerful. He thought it could change how you felt and even how you acted. So, when we hear a song, our brain links the sounds to past experiences. Maybe it reminds us of a moment, a person we miss, or a feeling we once had. Think about it like this. Have you ever smelled something like fresh-baked cookies, and suddenly you're back in your grandma's kitchen? Music works in a similar way. A slow, gentle tune, often in what musicians call a minor key, can mirror the quiet, reflective feeling of sadness. And it's not always about being sad at that exact moment. Sometimes, the music itself paints a picture of loneliness or longing, and our emotions can naturally follow along, like echoes in a big, empty space. So a sad song isn't always trying to make us sad. Sometimes, it's just acknowledging those deeper, more tender parts of life we all carry. It gives a gentle voice to feelings hard to speak out loud. And when a song makes us sad, it can also be a quiet, gentle reminder that it's okay to feel those things. It lets us sit with our emotions for a while, understand them a little better, and know we're not alone in feeling them. It's like finding a quiet comfort, a soft, shared breath in a world that often wants us to be happy all the time. What if gravity took a day off? Imagine for a moment, what if the very thing holding us to the earth just, decided to rest? That invisible tug, the one that keeps your feet on the ground, your pencil on your desk, the moon circling Earth. What if it just stopped for a day? Suddenly, everything would drift. Your breakfast cereal, your backpack, even you, slowly floating upwards, bumping gently into the ceiling. For centuries, people didn't really understand this force. They just knew things fell. Then, a long time ago, a man named Isaac Newton watched an apple fall from a tree. And he didn't just see an apple drop. He saw a question. He wondered why it fell. Not just that it did. He realized this same quiet pull affects everything, from tiny grains of sand to giant planets. It's what holds our universe together in a predictable dance. It's a little like when you're in a swimming pool and feel light, almost like you could float away forever. That's a tiny taste of what being without gravity might be like. But here's the thing. Gravity isn't just about pulling us down. It's also about connection. It's the steady, unseen hand holding everything in place. Even when we don't think about it, when we think about gravity taking a day off, it's not just about things floating away. It's about realizing how many invisible forces shape our world, how many quiet structures we rely on without ever seeing them. It makes us wonder about the other gravities in our lives, the unseen pulls of friendship, the silent promises that keep us grounded, the quiet rules that make our days feel safe and predictable. Sometimes, it takes imagining something gone to truly appreciate it, to feel the gentle, strong hug it gives us every single day. Where does a word go after you say it? Have you ever truly thought about that? One moment, a sound leaves your lips, a clear thought takes shape. Then, silence. Where does that sound, that idea, actually go? Does it just vanish, like a whisper carried away by the wind? Here's the thing. Physically, a word is just sound. It's vibrations in the air, carrying a message. But that's only part of the story. For ages, people felt words held a deeper power, Ancient cultures believed speaking something could make it real. They saw words as tiny acts of creation, starting things when spoken. Think of dropping a stone into a still pond. The stone is gone, right? It sinks, but the ripples spread out, reaching every edge of the water. Your words are like those ripples. Once out there, they spread. They might touch a heart, change a mind, or even spark a memory years from now. Maybe you tell a friend something kind. That kindness doesn't disappear. It settles in them. It can make them feel seen, truly valued. That good feeling can make them kinder to others. Or maybe you say something that hurts. That pain leaves a mark. It stays, sometimes for a long time, shaping how someone feels or acts later. So, a word never just vanishes. It changes form. It turns into understanding, or sometimes misunderstanding. It becomes part of someone's memory, a small piece of their personal story. It shapes the space between people. Every word you speak isn't just noise. It's like a tiny thread woven into the world's fabric, connecting us all, quietly changing the pattern. Even when we don't always see it, it lives on, in the hearts and minds it touched. What makes a secret important? Why do some whispered words feel heavier than others? Why do we guard certain pieces of knowledge as if they were fragile glass? Here's the thing, a secret isn't just a hidden fact. Its importance comes from the meaning it carries, the trust it holds, or the change it could bring. It's like a quiet energy that sits between people. Think about it like this. For thousands of years, humans have kept secrets. Ancient kings held secret battle plans. Old craftspeople guarded the special ways they made their art. Sometimes, a secret was about power, keeping an edge over others. Other times, it was about protection, safeguarding something precious from harm. Philosophers often talked about how knowing too much, or too little, could shape a person's life. A secret can be a burden, but it can also be a key to understanding someone or something deeply. Imagine your best friend tells you they're struggling with something, but they're not ready for anyone else to know. That secret isn't just a piece of information, it's a piece of their heart. It holds their fear, their hope, and their trust in you. The importance of that secret comes from the connection you share, and the fragile nature of their feelings. It's like a tiny, growing seed you've promised to water and protect, not exposed to harsh light too soon. So, what makes a secret truly matter? It's often the emotional weight we place on it. It's the whisper of what it could change, the gentle hold of trust, or the quiet strength of what is kept safe. Secrets remind us how connected we are, and how much our promises to each other mean. They ask us to consider the hidden parts of life, and the quiet dignity of things unseen. Is there a true meaning to life? Have you ever looked up at the night sky, or maybe just stared out a window, and wondered, why am I even here? It's a huge question, right? It asks if there's one big, right answer to what life is all about, or if we each get to decide for ourselves what truly matters. Think about it. People have asked this for thousands of years. Ancient Greek thinkers like Socrates, and later, wise people from all over the world, tried to figure it out. Some believed life was about following rules set by a higher power. Others thought it was about finding happiness, or helping others, or creating something beautiful. Here's the thing, no single answer has ever satisfied everyone, and that's okay. Imagine you're building with Legos. Someone might tell you there's only one perfect thing to build, but you might see endless possibilities, a spaceship, a castle, or something totally new you just thought up. Your life can feel a bit like that. Is there one blueprint you have to follow, or can you build whatever feels right to you, piece by piece? Maybe the meaning isn't something hidden waiting to be found. Perhaps it's something we create, moment by moment, with our choices, our kindness, our curiosity. It's not about finding the answer, but about truly living your questions. And that's why it matters, because your unique journey, your thoughts, your small acts of meaning, they're all part of the grand unfolding story of what life can be. Why do we have rules anyway? Have you ever stopped to really think about why we have rules? Not just the ones your parents make, or the ones at school, but any rules at all. They feel like they're everywhere, don't they? Sometimes, they can feel heavy, like chains. But what if there's something else entirely? Here's the thing, rules aren't just about someone telling you no. At their heart, they're about how we live together. Imagine a long, long time ago, people lived in small groups. If everyone just did what they wanted, whenever they wanted, things would get chaotic, fast. Someone might take another's food, or cause trouble. So, even back then, people started making unspoken agreements. We'll share the hunt, or we won't hurt each other. These simple ideas grew into the rules we know today. They're like guideposts, helping us navigate the tricky paths of being human together. Think about a basketball game. If there were no rules, no lines, no fouls, no limits on how you play, what would happen? It wouldn't be a game. It would just be a messy fight for the ball. The rules, even though they limit what you can do, also make the game possible. They create fairness. They create the challenge. They make it fun and understandable for everyone. Without them, there's no game at all. That rules, in a way, are a kind of quiet promise we make to each other. They say, I see you, and I want us to get along. They don't always feel good, and sometimes they need to change. But they help us build something bigger than ourselves. A school, a community, a peaceful world. They're a way we try to care for each other, even strangers. They create a shared space where we can all feel a little safer, a little more understood, and a little more free to just be. What if my dream was real life? Have you ever woken up from a dream, and for a split second, the feeling of it was so strong, you couldn't tell if it had truly happened? That sudden jolt, where the edges of sleep and waking blur. This question asks us to wonder about those edges. It's about how our minds can build entire worlds that feel so real, so solid, even when our eyes are closed and our bodies are still. And then, what if those worlds weren't just in our heads? People have thought about this for thousands of years. A long, long time ago, a really smart person named Plato suggested that maybe what we call real life is a bit like shadows dancing on a cave wall. He wondered if the true reality was something deeper, something we might not fully see or understand in our everyday lives. It makes you think, is what we experience through our senses the only kind of real? Here's the thing. Think about a super vivid dream you've had. Maybe you were flying, or you were somewhere entirely new, or talking to someone you love. For those moments your mind was completely there. Your body was in bed, but your feelings, your thoughts, your sensations were totally wrapped up in that dream world. And sometimes, when you wake up, a feeling, an idea, or even a mood from that dream sticks with you all day. It changes how you feel, how you see things, just for a little while. So this idea isn't about magic. It's about the amazing power of our own minds. It teaches us that our inner world, our hopes, our fears, our imagination, can feel incredibly real and can shape how we see the world around us. And that's why it matters. It shows us that what we dream, what we imagine, has its own kind of truth, its own way of existing and touching us, even if it's just inside our heads. It reminds us that our thoughts can be just as impactful as the things we can reach out and touch. Can small choices change big things? Have you ever wondered if the smallest things you do really matter? Like, what if you decide to take a different path home from school one day, or choose to say hello to someone you usually just pass by? It feels like those tiny moments shouldn't change much, right? But here's the thing. Sometimes, the quietest ripple can grow into a mighty wave. This idea that small actions can have huge, unexpected results isn't new. People have thought about it for a very long time. Philosophers in ancient Greece, for example, wondered about cause and effect. They asked if everything was fated, or if even a tiny choice could shift the future. And that's why it matters. What we do, even when it seems unimportant, can truly set things in motion. Think about a tiny seed. It looks so small and powerless in your hand, but plant it, give it some sun and water, and over years, that seed can become a giant tree, reaching for the sky. It offers shade, homes for birds, and cleans the air, all from something you could almost hold between your fingers. Or consider a simple act of kindness. Maybe you help a classmate pick up dropped books. It might seem small, but that one act could make their day, reminding them someone cares. And maybe, just maybe, it inspires them to be kind to someone else. It's like a chain reaction, quiet but powerful. So, maybe those little choices aren't so little after all. Each step we take, each word we say, each kindness we share, it all adds up. We might not always see the big picture, how our choices branch out into the world, but it's a gentle reminder that even the softest whispers can echo in ways we can't predict, shaping not just our own story, but the stories around us. Why do people get nervous? Have you ever felt a sudden flutter in your stomach, or your hands get a little sweaty? Maybe your heart beats a bit faster right before you have to speak in class, or try something new. That feeling, that shake, it's called nervousness. It's something almost everyone feels. Here's the thing. It's not just a weird feeling, it's actually a very old, very important part of being human. Long, long ago, when our ancestors lived in caves and hunted for food, life was full of danger. A rustle in the bushes could mean a lion or a sudden storm. Their bodies needed a way to react quickly to these threats. So, our brains developed a special alarm system, often called fight or flight. When danger was near, this system would flood their bodies with energy, making them ready to run fast or stand their ground. This natural response helped them stay safe. It's built deep into us, even today. It helped us survive, so why do we still get nervous when there's no lion around? Well, our brains haven't quite updated for modern life. That same ancient alarm system kicks in for things that feel like threats, even if they're not physically dangerous. Think about standing in front of your class to give a presentation. You know your friends aren't going to attack you, but your brain might still see it as a big moment, a situation where you're being watched and judged. It wants you to be extra alert, extra careful. It's like your internal alert system is flashing yellow, not red, but still saying, pay attention, and that's why it matters. This feeling of nervousness often shows us what we care about. If you weren't nervous about your presentation, maybe you wouldn't care as much about doing well. It's a signal, a soft whisper that says, this moment is important. It's not a flaw, it's a deep part of our shared experience. It reminds us that we are alive, feeling, and connected to something meaningful. So, when it comes, maybe listen to what that flutter is trying to tell you. What if I could stop time for a moment? Have you ever really wished you could just hit pause on the whole world? Imagine if, for just one tiny moment, everything around you froze. The birds mid-flight, the laughter in the hall, the leaves falling from a tree all perfectly still. The air itself would feel heavy with silence, holding its breath. It's not about changing anything, but simply about seeing it, truly seeing it, without the rush of motion. For thousands of years, people have dreamed about this power. Not to fix things, or rush ahead, but just to understand what a moment truly means. Ancient thinkers often wondered if time was like a flowing river that never stops, or if it was more like a series of still pictures, one after the other, moving so fast we don't notice the gaps. They understood that the clock's tick-tock isn't the only way to measure time. There's also the time we feel. Think about a moment when you're deeply focused on something you love, like painting, playing an instrument, or even reading a really good book. The rest of the world just fades away. Time seems to stretch out, or maybe even disappear entirely. You're so present, so lost in that single act, that it feels like you've captured that moment and held it. It's like catching a snowflake on your tongue before it melts, a brief, unique experience. We can't literally stop the clock, but here's the thing. We do have the power to stop ourselves in time, to truly pay attention to the small things, to feel the warmth of the sun, to listen to a friend's words, to notice the patterns on a leaf. Maybe the real magic isn't about freezing the world, but about fully being in it, letting a moment settle deep within us. Where does courage really come from? Think about courage for a moment. Is it only for superheroes, or for soldiers in old stories? We often imagine it as huge, dramatic acts, but what if it's much closer to home, inside us all? Here's the thing. Courage isn't about not being scared. It's about feeling that knot in your stomach, your heart beating fast, and still choosing to take a step forward. It's hearing that small voice say, this is scary, but then another, stronger voice whispers, but I can try. Long ago, thinkers like the ancient Greeks talked a lot about courage. They saw it as an inner strength, not just for battles. They believed true courage meant having the guts to speak your truth, even when unpopular, or to do what was right when hard. Here's an example. Imagine you're in class, and you see someone being unfairly teased. Your first feeling might be to look away. That's natural fear. But courage is when you decide to speak up, to stand by that person, even if your voice shakes a little. It's choosing kindness over just staying quiet. It's facing that fear and acting anyway. It's like your body's fight or flight response kicking in. Courage isn't turning off that alarm. It's hearing it, feeling it, and still deciding to act. It's when your brain tells you to hide, but your heart nudges you to try, to help. So courage isn't some rare gift. It lives in quiet moments, in everyday choices. It grows stronger each time you face something difficult, no matter how small. It's a spark inside you, waiting for you to fan it into a steady, quiet flame. It's always within reach. What's the deal with DOJR view? Have you ever walked into a new place, or heard a story for the first time, but a strange shiver tells you, you've done this before. That feeling, that whisper of the familiar in a brand new moment, is what we call déjà vu. It's French for already seen. It's like your brain is playing a trick, showing you a memory that isn't really there. For centuries, people have wondered about déjà vu. Is it a glimpse into a past life? A tiny hiccup in time? Or perhaps our minds are more complex and mysterious than we know? Thinkers long ago, even philosophers from ancient Greece, probably felt this same odd sensation. They might have thought it was a message from the gods, or a clue about reality itself. Imagine scrolling social media. You see a friend's new pet. You know you've never seen this specific picture before, but for a split second, it feels like you have. Maybe you saw a similar pet, or the angle reminds you of another photo. Or reading a book, a sentence feels deeply familiar, even though you just opened the page. It's not a real memory, but a sudden flash of "I've been here." Our brains try to make sense of new information by matching it to old experiences. Sometimes, they get a little ahead of themselves. So, what's happening? Scientists think it might be a momentary glitch in how our brain processes memories. Maybe one part recognizes something a tiny fraction of a second before another part does, making it feel like you've already seen it. Or perhaps it's a brief confusion, where current experience gets misfiled as a past memory. It reminds us that our minds are vast, incredible places, full of wonders we still don't fully understand. That strange feeling isn't a sign of something wrong, but a gentle reminder of the beautiful, complex machinery humming inside our heads, constantly working to make sense of the world. And sometimes, in that attempt, it gives us a fleeting glimpse into the mysteries of our own consciousness. Why do we forget things we learned? It's a question that can feel like a quiet ache. You study hard, know everything, then, weeks later, that knowledge seems to just vanish. It's like a mist covering what you knew. You wonder, what happened? Did you truly know it? This feeling can be frustrating, even sad. Here's the thing about forgetting. It's not always a flaw. Our brains are amazing, but busy. They constantly decide what's important to keep and what can gently fade. Think of your brain managing a huge flow of information. It prioritizes. If you don't use facts often, or they lack a strong emotional link, your brain loosens its grip. It's clearing space. People have wondered this for thousands of years. The ancient Greek philosopher Plato, for example, thought of memory like impressions on a wax tablet. Over time, those impressions could get rubbed out or become less clear. Knowledge doesn't totally disappear. It's more like the path to it becomes overgrown, less traveled. You know how you might learn a complicated dance or a new song. You practice until it feels natural. But if you stop for months, your fingers might stumble, or your feet forget the exact steps. The movements aren't immediately there. You have to work to bring them back. It's still inside, but needs effort to resurface. And that's why forgetting is a natural part of life. It's not just empty space. Sometimes, it's creating room. It allows us to move on, to focus on the present, and to keep learning without our minds feeling too cluttered. Forgetting can be a quiet reminder that change is constant, and every moment holds a chance for understanding. It's a gentle release, a letting go that allows us to breathe and grow. What if everyone thought the exact same? Imagine, for a moment, a world where every single mind on earth held the exact same thoughts. Every dream, every doubt, every idea, perfect, unwavering copy of the next. Would life suddenly become simple, calm, perfectly peaceful? Or would something essential, something deeply human, be lost forever? Here's the thing about how we've moved forward. All human progress, everything we've ever learned or built, comes from seeing things differently. For centuries, people believed the sun orbited the earth. It was the common, accepted truth. But then, a quiet mind wondered, what if that's not quite right? That single, brave question, that unique thought, eventually cracked open a whole new understanding of our universe. It took courage to think differently, to stand apart. And that's how humanity always learns, always grows. If everyone always thought alike, truly, there would be no new music, no surprising stories, no amazing inventions. Think about your favorite song. It came from one person's unique feelings, one musician's different idea. Now, picture an art class where every student painted the exact same picture, chose the same colors. It wouldn't just be boring, it would feel empty. We wouldn't learn from each other's vision. We wouldn't be able to grow in our own. Our unique thoughts are like delicate, powerful seeds. Each one holds the potential for something new, something no one else has ever imagined. Sometimes it can feel scary to share an idea that's different from your friends or what you see online. It can even feel a little lonely. But here's what I've learned. Those different thoughts, those quiet questions in your own head, they are incredibly vital. They are the gentle push that moves the world forward. They remind us that our individual way of seeing things is a precious gift, not a burden to hide. Can a picture tell a whole story? You've probably heard that saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words. It sounds so simple and so true. You look at a photograph, maybe of a grandparent smiling or a friend caught mid-laugh during recess. For a moment, it feels like you know what happened. You might almost hear the laughter, feel the sun on their face. It's powerful how a single image can grab your heart, pulling you into a moment frozen in time. But here's the thing, does it really tell the whole story? Think about that photo of your grandparent, their kind eyes and gentle smile. The picture shows a beautiful moment of happiness, a glimpse of who they are now. But it doesn't show all the years before that flash. It doesn't show their struggles, their secret dreams, the difficult choices, or the quiet fears they might have carried. Those deep parts of their life are hidden, existing only in memory and feeling. Humans have always wanted to capture moments. Thousands of years ago, people painted on cave walls, sharing hunts or ceremonies. They believed these images held a kind of magic, a deep meaning, and in a way, they do. They offer us a window, a single peek. But even those ancient artists couldn't paint every thought, every whispered secret, every true emotion. They showed us a story, yes, but never the entire story. It's like looking at a single frame from a long, complicated movie. You see a character's face, maybe they look incredibly sad. You know, instantly, that they are sad. But you don't know why they are sad. Was it a fight, a devastating loss, a crushing memory? The image shows an effect, but not the deep currents, the intricate journey, or the hidden reasons that led to it. It shows the surface, but the vast, complex ocean still churns beneath. So, while a picture can be incredibly moving and stir deep feelings within us, it's always just a tiny, precious piece of something much grander. It asks us to wonder, to imagine what came before and what might come after. It nudges us to be curious about the unseen stories, the ones that live in our hearts, in whispered tales, and in the quiet spaces between moments. A picture is a starting point, a soft whisper that invites us in, but never the whole library. It tells a story beautifully, but often it's just the very beginning of one. Why do birds sing in the morning? Have you ever really listened to the birds when the sun just starts to show? That sudden burst of song, a chorus welcoming the new day. It sounds beautiful, like they're just happy. But there's a deeper, more ancient message in their voices. For a long time, people believed birds simply sang because they were happy. Maybe they are, in a way. But scientists now understand it's also important business. Male birds sing to tell other birds, "This is my spot." They're claiming their territory. And they sing to attract a mate, showing off their strength and health. It's their way of saying, "I'm here, I'm strong, and I'm ready." The loudest, earliest singers often get the best mates and the best territories. Think about it. Like this, when you walk into a new classroom, you might not sing, but you do make your presence known. You might pick a certain seat, or joke with your friends. It's your way of saying, "I'm here." Birds do the same, but with their whole voice, right as the world wakes up. It's a powerful announcement. This morning chorus has echoed for millions of years, long before us. It's a natural rhythm, telling us the world keeps turning, that life keeps finding its voice. When you hear it, it's a gentle reminder that even after darkness, there's always a new start, a chance to show up, claim your space, and sing your own song. It shows us that being present, being heard, is a really important part of being alive. It's a calm promise of persistence, day after day. What if I could fly, just for a day? Take a moment and really imagine it. Not in a plane, but just you, soaring, feeling the wind on your face, the vastness of the sky all around. What would it be like to look down and see everything change? Your neighborhood, your school, the park where you hang out, all laid out like a map. Humans have dreamt of this forever. Long ago, people told stories of gods and heroes who could fly, like the Greek myth of Icarus, whose wings of wax and feathers helped him touch the clouds, but then melted when he went too high. And centuries later, brilliant minds like Leonardo da Vinci filled notebooks with drawings of flying machines, obsessed with how birds did it. It wasn't just about moving fast, it was about seeing the world from a different, grander place. A place of true freedom. When you're up high, maybe on a Ferris wheel, or standing on a tall bridge, things look different. The noise of cars below fades, people become tiny dots. All the everyday worries that feel so huge when you're on the ground, they might just shrink a little. They don't disappear, but your perspective shifts. It's like when you're really caught up in a problem, maybe a difficult math question, or a disagreement with a friend. It feels all-consuming, right? But then someone helps you step back, helps you look at it from another angle, and suddenly, the answer seems clearer, or the argument less intense. That feeling, that shift in perspective, is a bit like what flying for a day might give us. It's not just about the physical act of being in the air. It's about the emotional space it creates, a moment to breathe, to understand that even the biggest challenges might look different if we can just lift ourselves above them, even for a moment, to see the whole picture. So, while we might not have wings, we can always search for those moments of clarity, those chances to shift our view and find our own kind of quiet, soaring peace. Is saying sorry always enough? When we hurt someone, with our words or our actions, our first instinct is often to say sorry. It's a word we learn early, a kind of peace offering. But here's the thing, does simply speaking that word always make everything better? Does it erase the hurt, fix the mistake, or truly heal the wound? Sometimes, sorry feels like just a sound. It can be a starting point, a recognition that something went wrong. But for a really long time, people have wondered about this. Thinkers from ancient Greece to right now have discussed what makes an apology truly count. They believed that real apologies weren't just about words. They were about understanding the impact of your actions. They were about the effort you made after. The apology to repair what was broken. Imagine you accidentally break a favorite mug, maybe one with special memories. Saying I'm sorry is important. It shows you know you messed up. But if you just leave the pieces there, scattered on the floor, does the sorry feel complete? Or does it mean more if you offer to help clean up the mess? Or perhaps even offer to replace the mug, or find a way to honor its memory? The words are a beginning, a bridge you try to build, but actions are the steps taken on that bridge. It's like how a scientist might understand an experiment. An apology is like stating the problem, but the real solution, the real learning, comes from what you do next. It's about showing, not just telling, that you understand the damage. It's about accepting responsibility, yes, but also about truly working to make things right. So, sorry is a doorway. What we do on the other side, that's what truly shows our heart and helps mend the deeper feelings. It's a powerful word, but it usually needs company to truly resonate. What makes a true friend stand out? Have you ever stopped to wonder what makes certain people feel like home? What is it about some friendships that feel different, stronger, built on something deeper than just shared laughs? Here's the thing about true friends, they aren't just there for the good times. Anyone can cheer with you when things are great, but a true friend, they stand with you when the world feels wobbly. They see the real you, even the parts you try to hide, and they still choose to stay. It's like they have a special kind of vision, able to look past the surface and see straight into your heart. They offer a safe space, a quiet knowing that you belong, no matter what. Thinkers from ancient times, like a smart Greek guy named Aristotle, believed true friendship was one of life's greatest gifts. He said it wasn't just about fun, but about helping each other grow, becoming better people together. It's about a loyalty that runs deep, a bond built on trust and shared values. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Imagine you're trying to solve a tough math problem, and you just keep getting stuck. Most people might say, "Oh, that's hard," and move on. But a true friend, they'd sit right there with you, even if they don't know the answer, offering to look at it from a different angle, or just being a calm presence while you figure it out. They're like a sturdy lighthouse in a storm, not promising to stop the waves, but making sure you can see your way through them. And that's why it matters. True friends help us understand ourselves better, reflect our strengths, and gently show us where we can be kinder or braver. They don't demand perfection. They simply offer presence. Finding such a friend, or being one for someone else, is like discovering a hidden treasure. It's a quiet promise that you're not alone on this journey, and that kind of connection changes everything. Why do we get goosebumps? Have you ever noticed those tiny bumps that suddenly pop up on your skin? Maybe when a chill wind blows, or when you're watching a scary movie. But here's the thing, sometimes they appear for different reasons entirely. They show up when a song touches your soul, or when you hear a story so powerful it makes you feel deeply connected to something bigger. This strange little reaction, goosebumps, feels like a small mystery, doesn't it? Physically, here's what happens. Tiny muscles attached to each hair follicle on your skin tighten up. This makes your hairs stand on end, and it pulls the skin around them, creating those bumps. It's a leftover reflex from our ancient ancestors. Back when humans had much more body hair, standing hairs would trap a layer of warm air close to the skin, helping them stay warm. Also, if they faced danger, like a big predator, their bristling fur would make them look bigger and more threatening. Think about a cat puffing up its fur when scared. It's the same basic idea. But what about the goosebumps we get from music or a moving moment? That's where it gets interesting. Our bodies still react, even when there's no physical cold or danger. It's like our ancient warning system, or our old comfort system, is trying to tell us something about our feelings. When we hear a beautiful melody, or a voice that tells a truth, we feel deep inside. Our brain interprets that intense emotion in a similar way to how it would a physical threat or a sudden drop in temperature. It's a primal alarm, but for wonder and profound connection, not just cold or fear. So, goosebumps remind us that we are still connected to our deep past, but also that our bodies can translate powerful, unseen feelings into a visible sign. They are a quiet signal from within, a small tremor that lets us know we're truly alive and feeling deeply. These small bumps are like a whisper, telling us that sometimes what moves us the most isn't something we can see, but something we can only feel. And that's why they appear, inviting us to pause and just notice. What if books could talk back to us? Imagine holding a book, not just reading its words, but feeling it respond. What if the stories weren't just silent tales, but living conversations? Right now, you take in an author's thoughts. You might argue with a character in your head, or nod along with an idea. But what if the book could hear you? What if it whispered back a new question, or challenged your thoughts? Think about the quiet exchange that already happens. A book changes you. It plants a seed. And sometimes, you talk about it with friends, bringing its ideas to life in a new way. For centuries, people saw books as more than just paper. Ancient thinkers believed stories held a kind of spirit, carrying wisdom across time. They saw magic in words. They knew a writer's heart beat in every sentence, and that heartbeat reaches out to you, asking for your own response. It's a connection that bridges different eras and different minds. Here's the thing. You know how sometimes a song just truly gets you? It feels like the musician wrote it just for you, speaking right to your deepest feelings. Or maybe a video game seems to understand what you want to do next, almost guessing your moves. It's that powerful feeling of deep connection, of being truly seen or heard. That's a little like what we imagine if books could talk back. They wouldn't just tell stories, they'd be listening to. If books could truly talk back, maybe they'd just ask us to think harder, to feel more deeply. Maybe they'd remind us that reading isn't a one-way street. It's an invitation to bring our own questions, our own hopes, to the pages. And in that rich exchange, even silent as it is now, we find a piece of ourselves reflected back. It changes us, helping us understand the world, and each other, a little better, one story at a time. Where does confidence really hide? Have you ever felt like confidence is this secret treasure, always just out of reach? We often think it lives in the loudest voice, or the person who knows all the answers. But here's the thing. Confidence isn't about being perfect, or never being scared. It's a quiet feeling inside. It's a gentle knowing that even if things get tough, you can try. It's trusting yourself to handle what comes, even if you mess up. Long ago, thinkers like the Stoics talked about knowing yourself. They believed true strength wasn't about showing off. It was about understanding what you could control and what you couldn't. They thought confidence came from inner peace, from accepting challenges. It wasn't about never failing, but about facing what comes with a steady heart. So, for them, confidence wasn't something you put on. It grew from the inside out. Think about learning a new skill, like a video game or trying out for a school play. At first, you might feel uncertain. You might stumble or forget lines. But each time you practice, each time you try again, you learn. It wasn't about suddenly being a pro. It was about trusting you could figure it out, even when it felt hard or scary. That feeling when you finally nail a tricky part or deliver lines perfectly, that's confidence blooming. not from perfection, but from the simple act of trying and not giving up. So, maybe confidence isn't really hiding at all. Maybe it's not a thing you find, like a lost key under the couch. Instead, it grows inside you, like a strong, quiet plant. It needs care, and it needs you to step forward, even when you're a little afraid. It's a quiet strength that says, I am here, I will try. It lives in the small choices you make every day, to be brave in your own way. What's the biggest question ever asked? Have you ever just stopped, maybe late at night, and looked up at the stars? Really looked, until you felt small but connected to something vast. And then, did a question bubble up inside you? Not about homework, but something deeper, something about why we're here. That feeling, that wonder, often leads to the biggest question ever asked. It's not one simple answer, but a beautiful, giant mystery. This question asks where everything came from. It asks if life has a purpose, if there's a reason. It asks why we exist, why the stars shine, why anything exists. It sits at the heart of everything. Ancient thinkers have wrestled with this for thousands of years. They all stared at the sky, feeling the same wonder. They didn't have computers, but they used their minds. They asked these enormous questions. They told stories, built amazing things, all trying to understand that one big mystery. It's like building a big Lego set. You have all the pieces, but no instructions, and you don't even know what the model is supposed to be. You just have colorful blocks. You see them fit, but keep wondering, what's the point of all this? What am I actually making? That's how it can feel with the universe. We learn facts, but the why stays hidden. But here's the thing. Maybe the biggest question isn't about finding the answer. Maybe it's about the journey of asking. It's about the wonder, the curiosity, the connection to everyone who has ever looked up. Just by asking, we're part of something huge, something timeless, and that shared journey is pretty amazing on its own. It connects us all. Why do we need sleep so much? Have you ever wondered why we spend so much of our lives just sleeping? It feels like such a quiet, still surrender. We close our eyes, and the world keeps spinning, but we pause. Why this deep need, this pull into darkness every single day? It's more than just resting your body. When you sleep, your brain is actually incredibly busy, like a silent librarian sorting through all the day's events. It files away memories, decides what to keep and what to let go. Your body also gets to work, repairing muscles, growing and strengthening your immune system. It's a secret, nightly rebuilding project. Think about ancient humans. They didn't have alarm clocks or late-night TV, but even back then, in caves and by campfires, they knew sleep was vital. They probably felt its powerful tug, the way it renewed them for another day of hunting or gathering. It's a rhythm as old as humanity itself, a deep whisper from our earliest ancestors telling us to rest. Philosophers have long wondered about the quiet wisdom found in dreams, or the simple surrender that sleep demands from us. Here's single quotes as the thing. Imagine your favorite phone or tablet. If you use it all day, running apps and playing games, what happens? Eventually, it slows down, maybe freezes, and then the battery dies. You have to plug it in, let it charge completely. Sleep is like that essential charge for us. It's not just a break, it's a necessary reset, a total power-up for your mind and body. Without it, everything starts to glitch. So, when we sleep, we're not just wasting time, we're actively renewing ourselves, preparing for whatever tomorrow brings. It's a quiet act of trust, letting go of control, and trusting that the morning will come, and we will be ready. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes, the most important thing we can do is simply stop, breathe, and rest. We need sleep because it allows us to truly be ourselves again, fresh and whole, ready to connect with the world. What if my reflection waved back? Have you ever really looked into a mirror, past just checking your hair, and wondered who that person truly is? It's you, of course. But what if, just for a moment, that reflection had a mind of its own? What if it waved back, not because you moved your hand, but because it chose to? This isn't about magic. Not really. It's about a feeling we all have sometimes. A feeling that the person we show the world isn't always the person we are deep inside. For thousands of years, people have thought about this mystery. Ancient thinkers, like those in Greece, used to say, "Know thyself." They meant we should try to understand our own minds and feelings, not just our outside appearance. They believed there was a true self hidden beneath everything. Here's the thing. Your reflection is often what everyone else sees. It's your face, your posture, your clothes. But inside, You have thoughts that no one hears, worries no one knows, and secret hopes that only live in your heart. It's like when you're watching a movie. You see the actor on screen, their character, but behind that, there's a real person, with their own life, their own feelings, completely separate from the role they play. Your reflection is a bit like that character, a public version of you. So, if your reflection waved back, what would that mean? Maybe it's a quiet signal that the you on the outside is trying to connect with the you on the inside. Or maybe it's a gentle reminder that there's always more to you than meets the eye, even your own eye. It makes us think about our true selves, the parts we sometimes keep hidden. And if those parts want to be seen, to be acknowledged, it's about finding out if the person looking back at you truly reflects who you feel you are. And if those two versions can find a way to quietly say hello. Can one person make a big difference? Have you ever looked at the huge world around us and wondered if anything you do really matters? It's a quiet thought many of us have, a whisper that perhaps our efforts are too small. Sometimes, the problems seem too big, or the crowd feels too large to even notice one individual. But here's the thing about a single person. They hold a unique spark. One match won't burn down a forest, but it can light a small candle. That candle can then light another, and soon, a room is bathed in gentle, welcoming warmth. Throughout history, people have questioned this. Philosophers long ago talked about how even the smallest action creates a powerful chain reaction. Think about a single drop of rain. It seems incredibly small, but millions of tiny drops together can carve grand canyons, fill rushing rivers, and bring precious life to dry lands. Your choices, your words, your quiet acts of kindness, they are like those drops, full of unseen power. Maybe yesterday, you helped a classmate with tough homework, or picked up trash that wasn't yours. These everyday moments might feel small, perhaps invisible, but that help can ease someone's stress, giving them space to be kinder. That clean sidewalk makes a neighborhood feel better, and maybe inspires someone else to do good too. And that's why it truly matters. One person, with one honest choice, can set off a beautiful ripple effect. Think of a tiny stone dropped into a still pond. The stone is small, but its circles spread wide, touching everything. It's not always about grand, heroic acts. It's often about the quiet courage to act, to speak your truth, or simply to care deeply. Each one of us carries this power to shift something, even just a tiny bit. Sometimes, a tiny shift is exactly what's needed to change everything for someone. Your unique way of being in the world already adds to its tapestry. Imagine what happens when you decide to use that spark. Why does music have such power? Have you ever noticed how a song can just change everything? 1 minute you're feeling one way, and then a melody starts, and suddenly your whole mood shifts. It's like music speaks a secret language, one that goes straight past our minds and right into our hearts. It doesn't use words to tell us how to feel, but it somehow makes us feel. A quiet, sad tune can bring tears, even if you don't know why. A fast, upbeat rhythm can make you want to dance, even if you were just sitting still. Here's the thing, it connects to something really deep inside us, something ancient. Think about people long ago. Before books, before even writing, they had music. They used drumming and singing for celebrations, for mourning, for telling stories around a fire. Ancient Greek thinkers believed music could even shape a person's character, making them brave or calm. They saw it as a powerful force, not just for fun, but for the soul. It's always been with us, a thread woven through human history. It reminds us of a time when sounds were the truest way to communicate feeling. Imagine you're studying for a big test. Feeling stressed, you put on your favorite calming instrumental track. Suddenly, your breathing gets a little slower. Your shoulders relax. The notes don't tell you to relax, but they guide your body and mind there. Or maybe you're playing a video game, and the dramatic music makes your heart pound during a boss fight, even if it's just pixels on a screen. That's music working its magic, preparing your emotions, making the moment feel real. It changes your physical response. So, why does it have such power? Maybe it's because music reminds us we're not alone in our feelings. It gives shape to emotions we sometimes can't put into words ourselves. It helps us feel understood, even by a tune composed hundreds of years ago, by someone we'll never know. It's a gentle reminder that some connections go beyond what we can see or touch. A beautiful mystery that makes us feel more human. What if the internet suddenly stopped working? Have you ever stopped to really think about what we carry in our pockets, in our homes? What if, One quiet morning, the internet, that invisible thread connecting nearly everything, just went silent. No more scrolling feeds, no video calls with distant family, no instant answers to every curious thought. The world wouldn't just be quiet. It might feel strangely empty, as if a vital hum had vanished. Here's the thing. For most of human history, people lived without anything like the internet. They found connections in different ways. Stories were told face to face, knowledge passed down through generations, and messages took weeks or months to travel. Life moved at a slower, more deliberate pace. This shared, global silence would pull us back to something older, something forgotten. It would be a sudden, jarring shift, like every city's lights going out at once, but for the mind instead of the eyes. Imagine trying to finish a group project for school when you can't text your friends, or look up information, or even email your teacher. Suddenly, you'd need to meet up, talk things through, maybe even use actual books. This isn't just about convenience, it's about how we find information, how we communicate. Without it, we'd have to invent new ways, or rediscover old ones. It would force us to rely on ourselves, and on the people directly around us, in ways we haven't for a long time. It might feel scary, this vast quiet, but in that stillness, we might also find something beautiful. We might look up from screens and truly see the sky. We might talk more deeply with the people in our homes. Perhaps we'd find new hobbies that don't need a screen, or rediscover the simple joy of being present. The internet ending wouldn't be just a loss. It could be an invitation to listen to the world again, and to hear the quiet whispers of our own thoughts. It might lead us back to ourselves, and to each other, in ways we truly need. Where do tears actually come from? When a deep sadness hits, or when joy overflows so much it spills out? Where do those salty drops actually begin? It's a quiet mystery, isn't it? Here's the thing. Physically, tears come from tiny factories above your eyes called lacrimal glands. These glands are always busy, making a little liquid to keep your eyes clean and moist. But the tears that come when you feel big emotions, those are different. They even have stress hormones in them, like your body is trying to get rid of some of those overwhelming feelings. For a long time, some people thought crying was a sign of weakness. But if you look back through history, even really old thinkers, like those in ancient Greece, understood tears in a deeper way. They saw crying as a kind of release, not just for your eyes, but for your soul. It was like an inner cleansing, letting out heavy feelings so you could feel a little lighter afterwards. It showed strength, not weakness. To let those feelings move through you, think about it this way. Maybe you've been working super hard on a really tough assignment, feeling stressed and frustrated. Then, you finally finish it, and a huge wave of relief washes over you. Sometimes, a tiny tear might even sneak out, or maybe you're watching a movie, and something truly beautiful or heartbreaking happens. Your eyes might well up, even though it's not really happening to you. That's your brain and body connecting to a powerful feeling. So tears aren't just water. They're like secret messengers from our insides. They speak when words can't, telling us and others about the big feelings swirling around. They show us that we are human, full of deep connections and sensitivities to the world. And that's not something to hide. It's just how our hearts sometimes express themselves, finding a way out, reminding us that it's okay to feel things deeply. What makes something truly beautiful? Have you ever stopped to really look at something, perhaps a painting or a vast open landscape, and felt a quiet catch in your breath? It's more than just what looks good. It's that deep feeling inside you, like a peaceful echo, or a sudden, happy surprise that makes your heart feel full and calm all at once. It's a moment that stays with you. For thousands of years, people have wondered about this very question. Some thinkers believed beauty was about perfect math and balance, like the precise shapes in a seashell or the way stars form patterns in the night sky. Here's the thing. They thought certain proportions were naturally pleasing to our eyes and minds. But other thinkers believed it was all about feelings. How a powerful poem or a soaring song could stir your soul and make you feel deeply connected to something beyond yourself. They saw beauty as something that points to a quiet truth, something that just feels deeply right and good. Think about watching a skilled athlete move with incredible grace and power. As they compete, it's not just the score, it's the dedication, the flow, the sheer human spirit you see shining through their effort. There's a profound, quiet beauty in that kind of focused passion. Or consider the moment a small act of kindness brings a genuine smile to someone's face. There's a gentle, pure quality in that connection that feels undeniably beautiful. So, maybe true beauty isn't only about what something looks like from the outside. Maybe it's about the feeling it creates within us, the awe, the connection, the quiet truth you discover in something. It lives in unexpected moments, in a brave choice, in understanding another person, or in the perfect stillness of a morning. It reminds us that the world holds so much wonder, if we just pause to truly see and feel it with open hearts. Why do we whisper secrets? Have you ever leaned in close, your voice dropping to a hush, as you shared something only meant for one other person? It's a strange thing, isn't it? We make our voices soft, almost invisible, even if no one else is around to hear. Why do we do this? Here's the thing. Whispering is more than just quiet sound. It's an ancient language of trust and connection. When we whisper, we're not just lowering our volume. We're creating a tiny, safe space between two people. We're saying, this information is precious. It belongs only to us. Think about it. Long, long ago, people might have whispered important warnings in a hunt, or shared a valuable discovery to keep it safe from others. Sometimes, secrets were powerful stories passed down, meant only for those who understood their deep meaning. Philosophers might say that this act of sharing a secret creates a special kind of bond. Like an invisible thread that ties you to another person, it sets that knowledge apart, making it sacred and protected. Imagine you're telling your best friend about a huge dream you have, something a little scary to say out loud. Even if you're alone in your room, you might find yourself whispering it. That whisper isn't just about hiding it from others. It's about making that dream feel fragile and important. It makes the moment bigger, more intimate, and more truly shared. So, when we whisper secrets, we're doing more than just being quiet. We are building a tiny, sacred vault for words. We are showing that we trust someone deeply, offering them a piece of ourselves. It reminds us that some of the most powerful connections happen not in loud shouts, but in soft, shared breaths. What if every lie turned green? Imagine a world where every time a lie was told, a soft, green glow appeared around the speaker, or perhaps on the very words themselves. What would that be like? Think about it. A whisper of untruth, and a tiny green shimmer, a big, bold fib, and a bright, undeniable emerald light. Here's the thing. People have wrestled with truth and lies for thousands of years. Ancient philosophers, like the wise thinkers of Greece, spent their lives wondering why we sometimes choose to hide the truth, and what that means for our souls and our communities. They believed telling the truth was part of a good life. But here's the problem. Sometimes, honesty is hard. Picture this. Your friend tells you they finished their part of the group project, but then you see a faint, flickering green light around their backpack. You'd know, wouldn't you? Or maybe you tell your parents you cleaned your room, but the dust bunnies under your bed suddenly glow with a soft, telltale green. It would be impossible to deny. The world would be filled with these green signals, showing us every moment when words didn't match reality. It makes you wonder, wouldn't it? Would we become more honest because every untruth was visible? Or would we just find new ways to hide the green? Maybe we'd learn to be gentle with each other, knowing how fragile truth can sometimes be. It's a strange thought, this glowing green world, and it asks us to think about how much we value trust, and what it truly means to be real with each other. Can imagination build whole new worlds? Have you ever truly stopped to think about the places that exist only in your mind? Not just a quick daydream, but whole, detailed worlds, with their own rules and secret corners. It's a quiet, personal magic we all carry inside us. Imagination isn't just about making things up. It's about seeing what isn't there yet, feeling what hasn't happened. It's like sketching a blueprint in your mind before a single brick is laid, or painting a picture before a brush even touches the canvas. For centuries, people have understood this power. Ancient storytellers didn't just share tales. They built entire landscapes with their words. Places where mythical creatures roamed and brave heroes faced impossible challenges. Some thinkers even wondered if ideas were, in a way, more real than physical objects. If everything beautiful first began as a thought. Here's the thing. Before any skyscraper stood tall, before any smartphone connected us, someone first imagined it. It lived completely in their mind. In every detail. Think about Hogwarts from the Harry Potter books. J.K. Rowling imagined at school so vividly the common rooms, the moving staircases, the forbidden forest. None of it existed in our world, but through her imagination, and then her words, millions of people have felt like they walked those very halls. it became real in our collective minds. And from that spark, actual theme parks and movie sets were born. Physical spaces built because of an imagined world. So, yes, imagination absolutely can build worlds. It doesn't just keep them locked inside our heads, it can lay the groundwork for what becomes real. It's a gentle, yet incredibly powerful force. Our quiet thoughts, the pictures we conjure, hold a deep, unseen potential. They remind us that the unseen world within each of us is just as vast, and sometimes even more important, than the one we can touch. It's a calm promise that what you dream of can begin right there, in the quiet, limitless space of your own mind. Why do we have names for everything? Have you ever stopped to really think about all the names around us? Not just our own names, but names for the sky, the trees, the feelings we have inside. It's like we live in a world made of words, a universe painted with labels. But why do we do this? What drives us to give a sound, a symbol, to almost every single thing we see, touch, or even imagine? Here's the thing, names aren't just convenient tags. They are more like whispers of connection. From the very first humans, we started pointing at things: a berry, a predator, the warm sun, and trying to make a sound that meant that. It was about surviving, yes, but also about sharing. If I say fire, and you know what fire means, then we can understand each other. Names help us build a shared world, a place where we all agree on what a tree is, even if we each see a slightly different one. Think about a feeling, something tricky like bittersweet. It's a mix of happy and sad, right? Before we had that word, how would you describe it? You'd probably stumble, trying to explain a complex swirl of emotions. But bittersweet gives it a home, a single spot in our minds. It means we're not alone in feeling it, because someone else named it, and that's why it matters. Names give us power. Not power over things, but power to understand them. They help us sort the chaos of the world into neat little boxes. Imagine if you couldn't tell the difference between apple and orange. It would be confusing, right? We'd struggle to even ask for what we want. Names are like the keys that unlock the doors to understanding. They make the vast, wild world a little less scary, a little more knowable. They give us a way to connect, not just with others, but with our own thoughts and feelings. They help us see that we are all part of the same story, trying to make sense of it, one word at a time. What if I could understand animals? Imagine for a moment, what if you could truly understand a squirrel chattering in the park, or know what a whale feels as it glides through the deep ocean? It's not just about hearing words, but understanding their feelings, their whole world. This question has always fascinated people. For centuries, we've looked at animals and wondered what thoughts might be behind their eyes. We try to guess what a dog wants when it whines, or what a cat means with a slow blink. But what if the barrier between our minds and theirs simply vanished? What if we understood the silent language of their instincts, their fears, their joys? Think about ancient stories, where heroes could speak to birds or wise old women knew the secrets of the forest creatures. People have always dreamed of this connection, thinking animals held deep wisdom we couldn't reach. Philosophers wondered if animals think like us, or if their world is just different. It's a deep curiosity about what it means to be alive. And if our experiences are truly unique, here's the thing, we already try to connect. When your dog leans against you, or your cat gently headbutts your leg, you feel a kind of understanding, right? You know they're showing affection or asking for comfort. But imagine understanding exactly how safe they feel, or what worry crosses their mind when you leave. It's like seeing the whole picture instead of a blurry outline. It would be like suddenly knowing why your friend is sad without them saying a word, just by truly feeling what they feel. If we could truly understand animals, maybe we would learn so much about ourselves. We might see that happiness, fear, and love are not just human feelings, but threads that connect all living things. It would change how we see the world, making us feel part of something much bigger. It would remind us that every creature has a story, a purpose, and a heart that beats just like ours. And that's why it matters. Is being wrong ever a good thing? We all know that sting, don't we? That hot flush when you realize you messed up, when your answer was off, or your idea just didn't work. Being wrong usually feels like a bad thing, something to avoid. But here's the thing, what if those moments are actually gifts in disguise? Think about it. When we're wrong, it often means we were brave enough to try. We put an idea out there, we tested a guess, and when it didn't land, that wasn't failure. That was information. That was a signpost pointing us in a different direction. For a long, long time, People believed the earth was flat. They were completely wrong. But that wrong idea led to questions, to voyages, and eventually, to brave explorers like Christopher Columbus sailing off, thinking he was heading one place, only to discover a whole new world. His being wrong about reaching India opened up America.org. Take a scientist in a lab. They might try experiment after experiment, and most of them might not work out the way they planned. They are wrong in their predictions again and again, but each wrong result isn't wasted. It tells them what not to do next. It narrows down the possibilities. It pushes them closer to the actual truth. It's like learning to ride a bike. You wobble, you fall, you skin your knee. You're wrong about how to balance a dozen times. But each fall teaches your body a little more about how to stay upright, how to steer, how to pedal. So, maybe being wrong isn't about being less smart. Maybe it's about being human. It's about being on a journey, exploring new paths. And that's why it matters. It means we're growing. We're finding out more about the world and about ourselves. Being wrong can be a quiet teacher, gently showing us the way to something new, something deeper than we first imagined. It's a chance to truly understand, to connect with a truth that we might have missed otherwise, not just to know a simple answer. What makes a hero a hero? Have you ever stopped to wonder what truly makes someone a hero? We hear the word a lot, on movie screens, in history books, sometimes even in our own neighborhoods. But what is it, really, that sets them apart? For a long time, people thought heroes were super strong, or had magic powers, or were kings leading armies. Think of ancient myths, where gods and goddesses had special gifts, and for sure, bravery has always been a big part of it. But here's the thing, as we've grown, our idea of a hero has also grown. It's not just about grand, flashy acts anymore. It's about something deeper, something quieter sometimes. It's often about choice. The choice to act when it's hard, even when it's scary. The choice to put someone else's well-being before your own. Imagine you're walking down the school hallway, and you see someone being picked on. Your stomach might clench. It's easier to look away, to keep walking, right? But what if you stop? What if you step in, even just by saying, "Hey, leave them alone," or by getting a teacher? That moment, that small decision to stand up for someone else, that's a spark of heroism. It's not about having a cape, it's about having courage in a tough spot. It's about empathy, really, feeling what someone else feels, and choosing to help them carry their load, even if just for a moment. So, maybe a hero isn't just born that way. Maybe they are made, in countless small choices, in quiet acts of kindness, in moments when the easy path is ignored for the right one. And that's why it matters, because if heroism is a choice, then there's a little bit of it inside all of us, waiting to be found. It reminds us that our small actions can have a big impact, coloring the world with a little more light, a little more hope. Why do stars twinkle in the night? Have you ever just stopped, really stopped, and stared up at the night sky? It's amazing, isn't it? And those tiny points of light, so far away, seem to dance and shimmer. It looks like they're winking at us, sending secret messages across the vast darkness. But here's the thing, stars don't actually twinkle. They shine with a steady, constant light. The twinkle we see, that's all thanks to something much closer to home, our own atmosphere. Think of Earth's air as a big, wavy ocean, but instead of water, it's made of currents of hot and cold air, all swirling around. When light from a distant star travels millions of miles to reach us, it has to pass through all that moving air. The light gets bent and shifted a tiny bit as it goes through different pockets of air. It's like looking through an old, uneven window pane. The view gets distorted. Our eyes catch these tiny changes in light, and our brains put them together as a twinkle. For thousands of years, people looked up and wondered about that magical shimmer. They didn't know about air currents or light bending. Many ancient cultures believed the stars were alive, or that the twinkle was a sign from gods or spirits. Maybe it was a celestial eye blinking, or a whisper from another world. They saw meaning in that flicker, connecting our small lives to something truly immense and mysterious. You can see a similar effect closer to home. Imagine looking across a long, hot road on a summer day. The objects far away sometimes look wavy or blurry, like they're shimmering. That's because the hot air above the road is moving and bending the light, just like our atmosphere does with starlight. It's the same idea, just on a much bigger scale. So, the next time you see a star twinkle, remember, it's not the star itself dancing. It's our atmosphere, the very air we breathe, adding its own special touch to the universe's light show. It's a gentle reminder that even the simplest beauty we see is shaped by the world around us and by how we experience it. It makes us part of the starlight, in a way. What if I lived inside a book? Think about this for a second. What if your whole life was a story, printed on pages, waiting to be read? It's a strange thought, isn't it? Like someone else, an invisible author, penned your past, your present, and even your future. Every morning, you'd turn a new page. Every person you meet, every challenge you face, would be a carefully crafted part of a plot, designed long before you lived it. You'd move through your days, following a script you didn't write, for thousands of years. People have thought about this idea. Ancient thinkers, watching the stars and seasons, wondered if our lives were set in stone, like a play already performed. They called it fate or destiny. It makes you ask a deep question. Is there a story being written for us, word by word, or are we the ones holding the pen? Here's the thing. Thinking about it can make you feel a bit small, like a character on someone else's stage. Imagine your daily school routine. You go from math to history, then to English, bell to bell. It feels like a story you're just following, day after day. You almost know what's coming next, like reading ahead in a book. But even in that routine, you choose how you listen, how you respond, how you feel. Would living in a book mean you lose those tiny, personal choices? Or would even your feelings be part of the author's plan? If your life truly was a book, would you be the hero, the quiet sidekick, or just an extra? And would you feel trapped by the words? Or would there be a strange comfort in knowing a purpose for every chapter? It makes you think about how much control we actually have. Maybe our lives aren't books already finished, but rather blank pages, waiting for us to fill them. One beautiful, sometimes messy, deeply felt word at a time. Where do mistakes lead us in life? Have you ever messed up and felt that heavy knot in your stomach? We all have. But what if those wrong turns aren't just failures? What if they're actually guides? Think about it this way. Mistakes are often secret lessons. They show us what doesn't work, which is just as important as knowing what does. If we never tried something that failed, how would we ever find success? For example, the famous inventor Thomas Edison tried thousands of times to make a light bulb. When asked if he felt like a failure, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Each attempt, each mistake, brought him closer to the working light bulb. He wasn't failing, he was learning. Remember, when you were learning to ride a bike, you wobbled, you fell, maybe scraped a knee. Every time you fell, your body learned a little more about balance and steering. Those tumbles were not the end. They were part of the process. They led you to that moment when you finally rode smoothly, feeling the wind on your face, confident and free. So, where do mistakes truly lead us? They lead us to understanding. They build resilience, that inner strength that helps us bounce back. Mistakes teach us patience and empathy, showing us that everyone is on their own journey of figuring things out. They are not roadblocks, but different paths on the map of our lives, each one leading us toward a clearer sense of who we are and what we can become. They help us grow, step by step, into stronger, wiser versions of ourselves. What's the sound of true silence? Have you ever really tried to hear nothing? I mean, truly nothing. It sounds simple, right? Just stop talking, turn off the music, shut the door. But here's the thing. Even when everything around you is quiet, your own body makes noise. Your breath, your heartbeat, maybe even a tiny ringing in your ears. So, what's the sound of true silence? For a long time, people have wondered about this. Ancient thinkers imagined a perfect stillness, a quiet mind. But is that even possible? Scientists have tried to find true silence, too. They built special rooms called anechoic chambers. These rooms are designed to absorb every single sound wave. When you step inside, it's incredibly quiet. So quiet, you start to hear your own body's inner sounds, your blood flowing, your stomach gurgling. Here's what I found. People often can't stand it for very long. It's almost too much. Think about when you're lying in bed late at night. The house is asleep. Your phone is off. You might think it's silent, but if you listen closely, maybe you hear the hum of the fridge, or the wind outside, or even just your own breathing. It's rare to find a place on Earth where there is absolutely no sound at all, not even from nature. Even in the deepest forest, there are insects, rustling leaves. So, maybe true silence isn't just about the absence of sound outside. Maybe it's about what happens inside us when the world quiets down. It's a chance to listen to our own thoughts, our own feelings, without all the distractions. This can help you understand yourself a little better. It's not a scary emptiness, but a space for your inner voice to speak, and that's why it matters. In a noisy world, finding your own quiet can be a powerful thing. It's where you can truly connect with what's important to you. Why do we worry about the future? Have you ever felt that knot in your stomach when you think about tomorrow? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? This pull towards what hasn't happened yet. Here's the thing, worrying about the future is a deeply human experience. We think about what might go wrong. We imagine tough moments, big changes, or things we can't control. Our brains are incredibly smart. They are always trying to keep us safe, looking for patterns, predicting what might happen next. This is a survival instinct, a built-in alarm system. It tells us to be careful, to think ahead, to prepare. But sometimes, this alarm rings too loud, even when there's no immediate fire. Think way back to early humans. They worried about where their next meal would come from, or if winter would be harsh. Their worry helped them plan and survive. It was a tool for staying alive. Over centuries, thinkers also wrestled with this feeling. Some, like ancient philosophers called Stoics, understood that you can't control everything that happens, but they believed you can control how you react. They taught that we often suffer more in imagination than in reality. Imagine you have a big test coming up next week. You might worry about failing, about getting a bad grade, so you study hard. That worry, in a small way, pushes you to prepare, to practice. But sometimes, the worry gets too big. You imagine the absolute worst-case scenario, even if you've studied really well. It's like standing on a cliff, looking down into a deep canyon, even though you're safe on solid ground. Your mind creates a danger that isn't real. Not yet. It's like watching a scary movie trailer on repeat, even though the movie hasn't even been filmed. This kind of worry drains your energy, making it harder to focus on what you can do right now. The future is a landscape we haven't walked yet. It holds both shadows and sunlight, surprises and challenges, and while a little worry can make us prepare wisely, too much can steal our today, keeping us from enjoying what's right in front of us. So here's what I found. Maybe the trick isn't to stop worrying completely, but to notice it, to understand its message, and then gently bring ourselves back to the present moment. Because here, right now, is where life truly unfolds. What if I never grew up at all? Have you ever really stopped to think about what that would mean? What if one morning, you woke up, and nothing changed? Not just your height, but your thoughts, your feelings, your understanding of the world. It's not just about staying small, like a favorite toy left on a shelf. It's about being stuck in one moment, unable to move forward, unable to see things with new eyes. The old stories, like Peter Pan, make it sound like a dream, a place where playtime never ends. But here's the thing, even Neverland might feel small and unchanging if you never learned anything new, never faced a challenge that made you stronger. Long ago, people wondered about this too. They thought about how everything in nature constantly shifts. They realized you can't step into the same river twice. It's always new water, always flowing. This constant flow, this change, is part of what makes things alive. Consider your favorite song. The first time you hear it, it's amazing, right? But what if it was the only song you ever heard, day after day, for eternity? The joy would fade, wouldn't it? Or think of a caterpillar. Its whole purpose is to change, to build a cocoon, to become a butterfly. If it stayed a caterpillar forever, it would miss the sky, the flowers, the freedom of flight. And that's why it matters. Growing up isn't just about getting older or having more responsibilities. It's about the quiet wonder of learning, of feeling your heart stretch to understand new things. It's about becoming richer inside, seeing colors you never noticed before. The idea of never growing up might sound comforting for a moment, a shield from fears. But here's the thing. The real magic, the true adventure, is in the becoming. It's in the quiet unfolding of who you were meant to be, journeying through time, always discovering, always growing. Can a simple word hurt deeply? Have you ever noticed how a tiny spark can start a huge fire? Or how a small stone, thrown just right, can make wide ripples across a calm pond? It seems like such a small thing, but the effect can be immense. Words are a bit like that. They seem so small, just sounds we make or letters we write down. But here's the thing, they carry an incredible weight, a hidden power. They can sting deeply, or they can heal. They can build someone up, making them feel seen and strong, or they can quietly break them down. This idea isn't new. Even ancient thinkers knew this truth. What we say shapes our world, our thoughts, and how we treat each other. They believed a word, once spoken, can't be taken back. Its impact, good or bad, often stays. Think about this for a second. If someone bumps into you, you might feel pain, maybe get a bruise. That hurts, but the bruise eventually fades. Now, imagine someone calls you a truly hurtful name, or dismisses your dreams. That word, that simple string of sounds, can echo in your mind for days, weeks, maybe even longer. It doesn't leave a physical mark, but it can leave a deeper, longer-lasting ache in your heart or mind. It can make you question yourself, feel small or unwanted. It shows us that words aren't just tools for talking. They are like tiny, powerful forces. They can build bridges of understanding or create walls of pain. So, thinking about the words we choose and listening to the words we hear isn't just about being polite. It's about understanding the profound way we connect and the lasting marks we leave, one carefully chosen word at a time. What makes kindness so strong? Have you ever wondered why a small act of kindness can feel so big? It's more than just being nice. Kindness is a quiet strength, a gentle power that changes things. It's choosing to understand when it's easier to judge, or offering comfort when someone is struggling. It's seeing beyond the surface and reaching out a hand, even if it feels small. Think back through history. Even the oldest thinkers understood this. Philosophers like Aristotle, way back in ancient Greece, saw kindness as a virtue, a good habit that helps us grow into better people. Across different cultures and times, people have always known that treating each other with care builds strong communities. It's a truth that has echoed through centuries. Kindness connects us all. Here's the thing. Imagine a single drop of water falling into a still lake. It creates ripples that spread out, wider and wider. A kind act is just like that drop. Maybe you notice a friend looking down, and you just ask, "Hey, are you okay?" That simple question isn't just words. It creates a ripple of care. It tells them they're seen, they're not alone, and that feeling can spread. They might then be kinder to someone else, passing that ripple along. So kindness isn't just soft. It's powerful because it builds bridges between us. It reminds us that we all share this journey, and we all need a little warmth sometimes. It shows us that every person holds the ability to make the world a bit softer, a bit more hopeful, just by choosing to be gentle. And that's why it matters so much. It connects us, one gentle act at a time. Why do we follow trends sometimes? Have you ever felt that quiet tug? The one that makes you want what everyone else has, or do what everyone else is doing. It's not just about wanting a cool new phone or a certain pair of sneakers. This feeling goes much deeper than that. It's a very old part of us, buried deep in what it means to be human. Here's the thing. For a long time, belonging to a group meant safety. Imagine humans living thousands of years ago. If your group moved to find food, you went with them. If you didn't, you might not survive. This need to fit in, to be part of the crowd, became wired into our minds. It tells us that going along with others is often the safest, easiest path. It's like an instinct, whispering, "You are not alone." So, when we see a trend, whether it's a new style of clothing or a popular song, part of us feels that same ancient pull. We see others doing it, and a tiny voice inside says, "They know something. Maybe I should, too." It's like when a flock of birds suddenly changes direction in the sky. One bird shifts, and then many follow, moving as one. It's not a thought-out decision. It's an automatic response, a comfort in numbers. This doesn't mean we're weak or can't think for ourselves. It just means we carry this inherited need to connect, to be part of something bigger. Understanding this pull helps us. It lets us choose if we want to follow, or if we want to create our own path. Knowing why the option to follow sometimes feels so strong. It reminds us that our choices, even the small ones about trends, are connected to a very old story of being human. What if my diary came alive? Imagine, for a moment, that your diary wasn't just a book filled with ink. What if it suddenly, truly came alive? Not in a spooky way, but with a quiet, breathing presence. Every word you wrote, every secret thought you tucked inside its pages, now had a voice. It's a strange idea, isn't it? That your private world, the feelings you keep close, could become something real, something that could speak back to you. Here's the thing. People have kept diaries and journals for a very long time. For hundreds of years, humans have poured their thoughts onto paper. They weren't just writing to remember what happened. They were trying to understand themselves better. Philosophers, even ancient ones, understood that putting your thoughts into words was like holding them up to a mirror. You could see them clearly, separate from the messy jumble in your head. It was almost like having a silent conversation with another part of yourself, or with a wise, patient friend who always listens. Think of it like this. You might send a text to a friend, sharing something important. Then later, you reread it, and you remember exactly how you felt. Now, imagine that text could actually tell you more than you wrote. It could fill in the gaps, the unspoken feelings, the worries humming beneath the surface. It would be like a super smart echo of your own mind. This isn't just about remembering. This is about deep understanding. So if your diary truly woke up, what would it say? Would it tell you about the tiny joys you forgot, the quiet fears you pushed away? It might feel a little scary, knowing your inner world was so openly present. But maybe, just maybe, it would also be a deep comfort to know that every part of your journey, every whispered thought, is not just seen, but understood. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What parts of you are just waiting to come alive? Where does motivation really hide? Have you ever wondered why some days it's easy to start something, and other days it feels impossible? Where does that push, that spark, actually come from? We often think of motivation as a giant engine that just turns on. But here's the thing. It's not always a huge roar. Sometimes it's just a whisper, a quiet pull inside you. It's that tiny feeling that nudges you to try, to learn, to grow, even when you're scared or tired. It's what makes you want to get better at something or understand a confusing idea. Long ago, thinkers like the ancient Greeks, like Aristotle, believed we are all driven by a desire for the good life. This wasn't just about having cool stuff, but about finding purpose and becoming our best selves. They thought our deepest motivation comes from living a life that truly matters, that feels right in our hearts. It wasn't about being forced, but about finding meaning. Think about when you're really into a game or practicing an instrument. It's not always fun, right? Sometimes it's frustrating, but there's this inner voice, this little fire that keeps you going. Maybe you want to beat the next level or finally nail that tricky chord. That little fire, that quiet determination, is motivation. It's like a tiny seed inside you, pushing through the soil to reach the sun. It's not a sudden burst. It's a steady, gentle pressure. So where does motivation really hide? It's not in a grand speech or a magic potion. It often hides in plain sight, deep inside you, waiting to be noticed. It's in the quiet decision to try again, in the courage to ask a question, in the small steps you take towards something you care about. It lives in your heart and mind, a constant, gentle invitation to become more. It's about listening to that quiet call and choosing to answer it, even when no one else is watching. What's the purpose of art? Have you ever looked at a painting, or maybe listened to a song, and felt something shift inside you? A sudden feeling of wonder, or maybe a quiet understanding you didn't have before. Here's the thing. Art isn't just about making pretty pictures or catchy tunes. It's a lot deeper than that. For thousands of years, humans have been creating art. Think about cave paintings from long ago, or ancient stories passed down through generations. People made these things not just to decorate, but to express themselves, to share their stories, and to try and make sense of their world. They used art to show what they believed, what they feared, and what they loved. This can help you understand that art is a basic, important part of being human. Consider this. When you write in your journal, pouring out your thoughts and feelings onto paper, you're doing something similar. You're giving form to something invisible inside you. Or maybe you've felt truly seen by a character in a book, or a line in a poem. That's art working. It's like a bridge, connecting your inner world to someone else's, or even to a past version of yourself. It lets us feel things together, even if we're apart. Art helps us see different points of view. It makes us feel less alone in our thoughts and emotions. So, the purpose of art, maybe it's to remind us we're not alone. It's to help us understand emotions that are too big for just words. It helps us record our existence, our hopes, and our questions. It's a way we hold on to beauty, or truth, or even sadness, and share it. It's how we connect, deeply and quietly, across time and space, finding echoes of ourselves in others' creations. Why do we love stories so much? Have you ever just gotten lost in a book, or felt completely absorbed in a movie? That feeling, when the world around you just fades. What is it about a good story that pulls us in so deeply? It's more than just fun. It's truly basic to who we are. For a very long time, long before books or writing, people sat around fires. They shared tales of brave hunters, wise elders, and strange creatures. These weren't just made-up things. They were how people explained the stars, why the river flooded, or what happens after you die. Stories passed down, lessons and feelings. They helped make sense of a world that could feel confusing and scary. Our brains, believe it or not, are wired for stories. Here's the thing, when you try to remember something for a test, isn't it easier if you can turn it into a small sequence of events, a little narrative? Or when you watch a documentary, you don't just get facts. You get characters, a problem, a journey. This helps us understand information better and remember it longer. Our minds crave patterns and connections, and stories give us exactly that. A story helps us feel less alone. When you read about a character feeling sad or lost, and you've felt that too, it's like someone else understands. Stories let us try on different lives, see the world through someone else's eyes. They teach us empathy without us living every hard lesson ourselves. So, when we open a book or start a film, we aren't just looking for an ending. We're looking for a piece of ourselves, or a connection to something bigger, something true. It's how we find meaning and feel our way through life. What if the world was upside down? Have you ever just stared up at the ceiling, or maybe at the sky, and felt a strange pull? What if, instead of gravity holding us firm to the ground, it pulled us towards the clouds? Imagine everything you know, every rule of up and down, suddenly flipped. It wouldn't just be about apples floating upwards. It would be about a whole new way of seeing and feeling our place. For centuries, people had a firm idea of how the world worked. They believed Earth was the center of everything. The sun, moon, and stars revolved around us. To suggest Earth was just a ball spinning in vast, empty space, that was upside-down thinking then. It felt unsettling, challenging everything they thought was true. But that upside-down view opened a universe of understanding, showing how much bigger reality truly is. It made humans feel small, yet connected to something so grand. Think about a time you were really confused, maybe a tough school problem, or a misunderstanding. You kept looking at it the same way. It felt stuck, impossible. Your whole situation felt upside down. But then, you or someone else tried a different approach. You looked at the problem from another side. You literally flipped your perspective. What seemed tangled became clear. The solution appeared, not because the problem changed, but because you changed how you looked at it. Perhaps upside down isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes, it's just a new way to find balance, a different way to stand. It teaches us that what feels strange or wrong at first might actually be a chance to discover something wonderful. It's about being brave enough to question the ground we stand on, and open enough to imagine gravity pulling in a different direction. It's a quiet reminder that understanding often comes from letting our world flip for a moment, showing us beauty we never expected. Can a feeling last forever and ever? Have you ever felt so happy, so excited, that you wished that feeling could just stay forever? Or maybe a really sad feeling, a lonely one, and you wondered if it would ever go away. Here's the thing about our emotions. They're powerful, right? They can fill you up, make you buzz, or weigh you down. But do they actually stick around forever and ever in that exact same way? Think about a delicious piece of pizza. You take that first bite, and it's amazing. The taste, the warmth, the joy. But even the best pizza taste fades on your tongue. Our emotions are a bit like that. They can be incredibly strong, like a big wave crashing on the beach. But waves always pull back, and new ones come. People have wondered about this for thousands of years. Ancient thinkers and poets asked if love could truly be eternal, or if sadness would never end. They knew feelings changed, like the seasons, but they also felt their lasting impact. Scientists today tell us our brains are always changing, always adapting. The chemicals that make us feel happy or sad shift. So, the intense spark of a feeling often changes. Imagine getting a perfect grade on a test. The initial burst of pride is huge, but later, that feeling settles into a quiet confidence, a memory of success. So maybe feelings don't last forever in the same powerful way, but here's what does. The marks they leave, the lessons you learn, the memories you build, the ways you grow. They change us, and that change does last. It's like watching a breathtaking sunset. The vibrant colors fade, but the memory of its beauty stays with you. It colors your view. Maybe it's not about a feeling staying frozen, but about what that feeling teaches you. shaping who you become for all your forevers to come. What makes a good leader? What truly makes a good leader? Is it power, or strength, or just being the loudest voice in the room? When we look closely, it seems to be something much softer, yet incredibly strong, like the roots of an old tree holding steady. A true leader isn't someone who demands obedience. They are someone who inspires it, gently, from within. They are the ones who lift others up, who listen deeply, and whose heart feels the struggles of those around them. Their decisions aren't just about rules, but about genuine care for the group. For thousands of years, people have whispered about what makes someone truly lead. Not just boss around, but lead. Ancient stories tell of wise elders who put their people first, not themselves, often walking among them to understand their needs. Philosophers, in ancient Greece, imagined rulers who were dedicated to truth and fairness, understanding that real power comes from wisdom, not just a crown. It's a quiet strength. This kind of leadership, it's about understanding that your role isn't just to be ahead, but to be alongside, helping everyone move forward together. Think of a conductor in an orchestra. They stand at the front, yes, but they don't play every instrument, or even the loudest one. Instead, they listen to every sound, every whisper of a string, every booming drum. They guide, with a gentle hand, a glance, a small, encouraging movement. They bring out the very best in each musician, helping them weave their talents into one beautiful song. A great conductor helps everyone shine, creating harmony. So, a good leader is like that conductor. They see the unique melody in each person, appreciating what everyone brings. They create a space where everyone feels heard, valued, and safe to share their ideas. It's less about having all the answers yourself, more about asking the right questions, about holding a calm, steady presence when things feel chaotic. Perhaps the deepest form of leadership isn't about control at all, but about a profound sense of care, building connection, and the quiet courage to truly serve others. It's a gentle light that helps others find their own way. Why do we count on other people? Have you ever stopped to think about how much we lean on others every single day? We might think of ourselves as independent, strong on our own, but here's the thing. From the moment we're born, we need someone else. A baby can't feed itself or keep itself safe. This need for connection stays with us, always. For thousands of years, humans learned this lesson. Imagine our ancestors, living in a world full of danger. One person alone would struggle to find food or build shelter, but a group could hunt together, share skills, and keep watch. They survived because they counted on each other. Ancient thinkers, like a philosopher named Aristotle, even said that humans are social animals. This means we are naturally wired to live in communities. We aren't really designed to be completely alone. Think about a tall building. It doesn't stand on just one pillar. It has many pillars, beams, and walls, all leaning on each other, sharing the weight. If one part fails, the whole thing could be in trouble. But when they work together, sharing the load, the structure stays strong. That's a bit like us. When we face tough times, or even just daily challenges, having others to share the load makes everything possible. So, needing others isn't a weakness. It's one of our greatest strengths. It means we're part of something bigger, connected to a story thousands of years old. And that connection, it makes life richer, safer, and more meaningful. It helps us grow, not just by ourselves, but together. What if I could change the past? Have you ever thought about going back, just for a moment, to fix one tiny thing? Imagine a moment you wish you could redo. Maybe you said something you regretted, or you missed an important chance. That feeling of wishing you could just hit rewind, of wanting to snatch back words you shouldn't have said, or to make a different choice in a tough moment. The idea of changing the past, even a small bit, is really powerful. People have thought about this for thousands of years. Ancient philosophers, thinkers from long ago, wondered about time itself. They asked, if everything happens in a chain, like dominoes falling, what if you could stop one from falling? Would everything after it change completely? They understood that today is built on yesterday. Every moment is connected. Think about a time you accidentally spilled juice on your homework. You know, the big, sticky, purple kind. You cleaned it up, but the paper was still crinkled, maybe a bit stained. No matter how hard you wished, you couldn't unspill the juice. That moment happened. The consequences, the crinkled paper, they stayed. It's a bit like that with bigger things too. A word said, a path taken, it leaves a mark. It's a heavy feeling, that what if. But here's the thing. Maybe not being able to change the past isn't a curse. Maybe it's a gift, because every mistake, every moment we wish was different, they build us, they shape who we are right now. The past is like a sturdy foundation. We can't shift its bricks, but we can build something new and beautiful on top of it. We learn from it, we grow, and then we choose differently today. So, while we can't change what's already happened, we always get to decide what happens next. Where do happy thoughts actually go? You know that warm, bubbly feeling when something good happens, like scoring a goal, getting a great grade, or just laughing with friends until your stomach hurts. It feels so real, so bright, but then it fades, right? It doesn't stay forever, even if the memory does. So, where does that feeling go? Does it just vanish into thin air, like a whisper carried away by the wind? Here's the thing. Happy thoughts aren't like toys you put in a box. They are more like waves on the ocean. We feel them deep inside our brains, where tiny chemical messages buzz around. When you're happy, chemicals like dopamine surge. They make you feel good. Then, your brain slowly For a long time, people thought emotions lived in the heart. Now, we know our brains are where it all happens. It's just biology, a beautiful, complex dance of feelings. Think about listening to your favorite song. For those few minutes, you feel a rush of joy or peace. The music stops, but an echo of that feeling stays with you. Maybe you hum the tune later, or it makes you smile thinking about it. The feeling doesn't have a physical address, but it leaves its mark. It changes your mood, even slightly. It's like dropping a pebble into a calm pond. The ripples spread out, touching everything, even after the pebble is gone from sight. So, maybe happy thoughts don't go anywhere. Instead, they become part of you. They add tiny, invisible layers to who you are, shaping your spirit, making you a little kinder, a little more resilient. They might not be stored in a file, but their energy, their warmth, helps build the person you become. They're like sunshine that sinks into the soil, helping something beautiful grow. And that, in its own quiet way, is a kind of forever. What's the truth about luck? Have you ever thought about luck? Like, really thought about it? Some days, everything just seems to go right. You find a $20 bill. Your crush smiles at you. You ace a test you barely studied for. Other days, it feels like the universe is playing a trick. You spill juice on your shirt, miss the bus, and forget your homework. We often call these moments luck. But what is it, truly? Is it a magical force? A roll of invisible dice? For thousands of years, people have wondered. Ancient cultures sometimes believed in gods or spirits who handed out good or bad fortune. Philosophers later tried to figure out if our choices played a part, or if everything was just fate. It's a deep question. Are some people just born lucky, or can we make our own luck? Here's the thing. Sometimes, what looks like luck is actually preparation meeting opportunity. Think about someone who gets picked for the school play. Was it just luck they got the part? Maybe they spent hours practicing their lines, working on their voice, and showing up ready. Someone else, who didn't practice, might see that as luck for the first person. But it wasn't just chance. The lucky one was ready when the chance came. It's like seeing a rare bird in your backyard. You might call it luck, but maybe you also put out birdseed every day, making your yard a place where cool birds might show up. So, is luck totally fake? No, not really. True random things happen. A coin flip, a sudden rain shower. But perhaps, much of what we call luck is about how we prepare, how we notice, and how we react. It's about keeping our eyes open, even when things are tough. It's about trying, even when we're scared. Maybe the truth about luck isn't a secret formula, but a quiet invitation to be ready for the good things, and to learn from the not-so-good ones. It means every day holds a little bit of both, and how we meet them makes all the difference. Why do we need to learn history? Have you ever wondered why the world feels the way it does, or why certain things keep happening? It's a deep question, isn't it? Learning history isn't just about names and dates from old books. It's much more. It's about connecting to something truly human. Think of history like a huge library of human experience. Each book holds stories of joy, sorrow, courage, and fear. When we open them, we're not just reading facts. We're stepping into the lives of people before us. They felt things like we do. Their choices shaped their world, and ours. Here's the thing. Everything around us, our towns, our laws, our songs, even our problems didn't just appear. They grew from countless moments and decisions made long ago. History shows us these paths. It reveals the roots of our present. It explains why things are the way they are. Imagine a scientist trying to invent something new without seeing what others already did. They'd repeat old mistakes and miss clues. Learning history is like that. It's reading humanity's lab notes. It shows us what worked and what didn't. It helps us see the amazing things people can do, and also the mistakes we keep making. And that's why it matters. When we learn history, we don't just get facts. We grow our understanding, our empathy. We start to see ourselves in a much bigger story, a flowing river of time. It helps us make better choices today and tomorrow, not just for us, but for everyone who comes next. It reminds us our lives are part of this story. We get to help write the next chapter. It's a way to feel connected to all humanity, across all time. What if everything was black and white? Have you ever stopped to really imagine it? What if, one morning, you opened your eyes and all the vivid colors were just gone? The world would be a canvas of endless grays, from the darkest charcoal to the purest white. No brilliant blue sky, no vibrant green leaves, no warm red apple sitting on the counter, just shades. Everything would feel different, wouldn't it? A bit emptier, perhaps. For a long time, this was how people saw the world in pictures and on screen. Old photographs, early movies, they captured moments, but they did it without color. They showed us light and shadow, the shapes of things, but they missed the rich spectrum that makes life so bright. It makes you think. And here's the thing. Sometimes we look at ideas or situations in a similar way. We might see things as purely good or bad, right or wrong, with no space in between. Like when you're arguing with a friend, it's easy to think one of you is completely right and the other is completely wrong. But usually, life isn't that simple. There are always shades of gray, different viewpoints, complicated feelings that mix together. Think about a sunset. If you only saw it in black and white, you'd miss the fiery oranges, the soft purples, the fading pinks that melt into the horizon. You'd see the contrast, the shapes of the clouds, but you wouldn't feel the same quiet wonder. And that's why it matters, because seeing the world only in black and white means missing so much of its beauty and its truth. It's in those many shades, in the blend of colors, that we find understanding, empathy, and the incredible richness of being alive. It reminds us that most things, and most people, are far more complex and beautiful than a simple choice between two extremes. Can small moments be huge? Have you ever felt a tiny shift inside you, maybe from a quiet moment, or a single word someone said? It's easy to think only the big, loud events change things. But here's the thing. What if the really huge moments are often hidden in the small, everyday ones? We often overlook them. Think about it like this. A tiny seed, no bigger than your thumbnail, holds the entire blueprint for a massive tree. It sits unseen, and for a long time, nothing seems to happen. But inside, life is quietly stirring, growing stronger. Wise people through history have pondered this very idea. They understood that a single choice, a brief encounter, or even just a thought, could start something much bigger. It's like the idea that a butterfly flapping its wings in one part of the world could eventually cause a ripple of connections far away. It shows how everything is linked, even in ways we can't always see. Here's an example. Imagine you're having a really tough day at school. You feel down and everything feels hard to face. And then, a classmate, just passing by, offers a genuine smile or quietly says, "Hang in there." It might seem like nothing, just a quick, fleeting moment. But that tiny act of kindness can sometimes be the anchor that pulls you through a difficult hour. It doesn't fix everything, but it changes your perspective. It reminds you that someone sees you, and that can make a world of difference. So, maybe the real power isn't always in grand gestures or huge speeches. Maybe it's in noticing the quiet acts, the gentle nudges, the soft whispers of change. Every small choice you make, every bit of kindness you share, every new idea you welcome, they all have weight. They collect, they build up, and sometimes those overlooked moments become the bedrock of something truly enormous. It makes you wonder, what quiet power are you holding right now? What makes someone popular? Is it how they look, like on a screen? How funny they are, always with a quick comeback? Or is it something deeper, something quieter that pulls people in? Here's the thing. It's easy to believe popularity is just about having lots of friends or a huge online following, but often it's about a feeling. It's about the quiet warmth someone creates when they are around. Do others feel truly seen? Do they feel understood, like their thoughts matter? Do they feel a sense of safety, knowing they can be themselves? People have wondered about this for centuries. Ancient thinkers, watching their communities, saw that humans naturally gather around those who offer something essential. Maybe it was wisdom, or protection, or just a place where everyone felt like they belonged. This deep need to connect, to be part of a tribe, has always been with us. It's a very human need to feel connected, to find our place. Think about a really good conversation you've had. You know, the kind where time seems to slow down. The person you're talking to listens, truly listens. They look at you, they ask thoughtful questions, and you can tell they get what you're saying. That feeling, that precious sense of being deeply understood, it's like a gentle, steady light. People are naturally drawn to that light. It's not about being the loudest voice or the person with the newest gadgets. It's about making others feel genuinely important, truly valued, like their presence matters. It's almost like emotional gravity. Some people just pull others closer with their genuine kindness and their deep, honest interest. So, maybe popularity isn't about being the most talked about person in the hallway. Perhaps it's about being the most caring, the most present. It's about building real, strong bridges between people. One thoughtful glance, one kind word, or one truly listening moment at a time. And when you think about it, that kind of deep, heartfelt connection is what truly lasts. Long after any fleeting trend or cool thing fades away, it's about leaving a lasting good feeling in someone's heart. Why do we judge books by their covers? Have you ever looked at something new, a person, a movie poster, a cereal box, and instantly had a feeling about it? Before you even knew anything real, a picture formed in your mind. This is what it means to judge a book by its cover. It's not just about actual books. It's about the way our brains work every single day. We make quick choices, quick assumptions, based only on what we can see on the outside. But why do we do this? Is it fair? The truth is, it's a very old habit, built into us for survival. Imagine our ancient ancestors. They didn't have time to interview every rustling bush or study every new animal for hours. They had to decide fast. Is it safe? Is it food? Is it danger? Their lives depended on making quick judgments from outward signs. So, our brains got really good at sorting information quickly, creating shortcuts. This ability, passed down through time, helps us navigate our busy world today. Think about walking into a new classroom on the first day of school. Before anyone says a word, you'll probably notice clothes, expressions, how people sit. Your brain is gathering clues, making silent notes, trying to understand the vibe. Or maybe you're trying a new food. The way it looks, the colors, the texture, that all tells you something before you even take a bite. Our senses are always giving us these covers. So, it's natural to make these first quick judgments. It's part of how we understand the world. But here's the quiet power in knowing this. A cover, while useful for a quick first idea, is almost never the whole story. The deepest thoughts, the real feelings, the true flavor, these things are found inside. They wait for us when we are brave enough to look past the surface and give things, or people, a chance to truly show themselves. That's where the real magic happens. What if the air tasted different? Have you ever stopped to wonder about the air we breathe? It's always there, invisible, usually without a taste or a smell that we notice, unless it's smoke or rain. But what if every breath was a sensory experience, a quiet whisper on your tongue? Imagine the feeling of waking up, and the morning air tastes like sweet berries, light and fresh. Or maybe the afternoon air carries the deep, earthy taste of the park, like wet soil after a summer rain. This isn't just about adding flavor to something plain. It's about how our whole world would shift. Ancient thinkers, long ago, wondered about the basic elements that made up everything. They asked, what is reality? If air, one of those fundamental parts of our world, suddenly had a distinct taste, how would that change our personal reality? It would reshape our understanding of space, of home, of danger, of comfort. Think about how a single scent can bring back a flood of memories, like the smell of a grandparent's house or a favorite meal. It connects us to moments, to feelings. Now, imagine if the taste of the air did that. What if the air inside your school tasted different than the air outside, or the air in your own bedroom? You'd learn to recognize places not just by sight, but by a subtle flavor on your tongue. If the air around someone you love tasted like warmth and safety, wouldn't that deepen your connection? This question asks us to look closely at what we take for granted. We breathe thousands of times a day without a second thought. But if each breath came with a unique taste, sweet, bitter, salty, fresh, how much more present would we be in our own lives? It reminds us that even the simplest, most constant parts of our existence hold hidden depths, just waiting for us to notice, to feel, to perhaps even taste. It makes you wonder what other quiet miracles we're missing. Where do our fears really come from? Have you ever stopped to wonder, truly wonder, why we feel fear? Not just what scares us, but where that deep, shaky feeling really starts inside us. It's more than just a quick jump when something surprises you. It's that knot in your stomach, that rush in your chest, that whisper telling you to run or freeze. Here's the thing, fear is an old, old friend. Not a fun friend, maybe, but a protective one. Thousands of years ago, when humans roamed wild lands, fear was a superpower. It screamed, "Watch out for that saber-toothed tiger," or "Don't get too close to that cliff." It kept our ancestors alive, helping them react fast to real dangers. Thinkers like ancient philosophers and later scientists noticed this. They saw fear as this built-in alarm system, designed to keep us safe. It's not a flaw, it's a feature. Imagine you have to give a speech in front of your class. Your heart starts to beat a little faster. Your mind races. That feeling, it's your brain's way of saying, this is important. You want to do well, and there's a risk of feeling embarrassed. It's not a tiger, but your body reacts similarly to protect your social self. It's a very human response to a challenge, whether it's physical danger or the fear of looking silly. So, while fear can feel overwhelming, understanding its roots helps. It reminds us that often, fear isn't there to hurt us, but to highlight what matters. It can point to things we care deeply about, or challenges we need to face, and by knowing that, we can learn to listen to its message, instead of letting it push us around. It's a part of being human, a quiet guide through the sometimes scary adventure of life. What's the real meaning of fear? Have you ever felt that knot in your stomach, that rush of anger, and you just blurt out, "That's not fair"? We say it a lot, don't we? In school, at home, watching the news. But what does fair really mean? Is it the same as everything being equal? Not always. And that's where things get interesting and a little bit complicated. Think about it. For thousands of years, people have wrestled with this idea. Ancient thinkers, wise elders, even just regular folks trying to live together, they all wondered about what makes something fair. It's not just about sharing equally, like splitting a candy bar right down the middle. Sometimes, fair means giving someone what they need, or what they deserve based on their actions or circumstances. It's about finding a kind of balance, a sense of justice that feels right in your heart. Here's the thing. Imagine you and your friend are both trying to reach a book on a high shelf. You're tall, and you can grab it easily. Your friend is shorter, and can't quite reach. Is it fair to say, "Tough luck, you try harder"? Or is it fairer to give your friend a step stool, so they also have a chance to get the book? In that moment, the step stool isn't about making things exactly equal. It's about making them equitable, so everyone has a real chance. That's a core idea of fairness. This isn't just about sharing. It's about how we treat each other, how society is built. When you hear about historical movements, about people fighting for rights, they were often fighting for fairness, for a world where everyone gets a fair shot, regardless of where they start. It's a deep, powerful human desire, this longing for fairness. So fair isn't a simple answer. It asks us to look beyond the surface, to understand other people's situations, and to try to create a world where everyone feels respected and supported. It's a call to empathy, a quiet understanding that justice isn't always about sameness, but about what is truly right for each person, in each unique moment. And that's a feeling worth searching for. Why do we have different opinions? Have you ever noticed how two people can look at the exact same thing, but see it so differently? Maybe you and a friend watch a movie. One thinks it's amazing, the other finds it boring. Or, you both see a painting, one loves the colors, the other dislikes them. It's like we live in the same world, but each carry our own unique lens. Here's the thing, our opinions are shaped by everything that has ever happened to us. Every book you've read, every conversation, every joy and sadness. These are like tiny brushstrokes on the canvas of your mind. So, when you see something, you're not just using your eyes, you're seeing it through the filter of your entire life story. People have wondered about this for thousands of years. Ancient thinkers realized our perspectives are deeply personal, tied to our experiences and beliefs. It's not about right or wrong like in math. Instead, it's about how our individual journeys create unique viewpoints. Imagine you and a friend look at a messy room. You might see a disaster needing immediate cleaning, but your friend, just finishing a huge project, might see proof of hard work and creativity. The room hasn't changed, but your personal histories and feelings change how you interpret it. This applies to everything: how we value things, what we think is fair, or what makes us laugh. Our different opinions are not a problem to fix. They are a reflection of the incredible beauty of being human. They remind us that each person holds a unique universe within them, a perspective shaped by countless moments. When we truly listen to these different views, we don't just learn about another person. We learn to see the world a little wider, a little deeper, and often, with more kindness. It makes life richer and more colorful. What if I met an older me? Imagine for a second, you're walking, and there they are, you, but much older. What would you feel? Would you even recognize yourself? It's not just a game. This is a deep question about who you are becoming. It makes you think about how every choice, every moment you live right now, builds that future person. Here's the thing. People have thought about this for ages. Ancient thinkers, like some old Greek philosophers, wondered if you're truly the same person from one day to the next. One Heraclitus famously said, "You can never step into the same river twice. The water always flows, always new." And that's like us, right? We're always changing, always learning. Our thoughts evolve, our feelings shift. Think about it like this. Remember learning to ride a bike. You were one person, wobbly and unsure. Years later, you ride without thinking. You're still you, but a more skilled, confident version. The one who fell off the bike and the one who glides now are connected by all the practice. The scraped knees, the growing up dot. So, meeting an older you isn't just about how you look. It's about seeing the story you've lived, the challenges you've faced, the wisdom you've gained. It's like a quiet whisper from the future, telling you that life is a journey, not a fixed point. Every decision you make today, big or small, is a brushstroke on the masterpiece that is your future self. That's a powerful idea, isn't it? It makes you think about how special this moment, this you right now, truly is. Can silence teach us new things? Have you ever really just sat in silence? Not just quiet, but a deep, still kind of silence, where there's no music, no talking, no buzzing phone. Here's the thing, we often fill our lives with sound, always doing something, always listening to something. But what if the quiet actually has something to say? What if it's a powerful teacher? Silence isn't empty. Instead, it's a space where your own thoughts, your feelings, and even the tiny whispers of your intuition can finally get a chance to be heard. It's like tuning into an inner radio station that's usually drowned out by static. Long ago, people understood this. Ancient thinkers, philosophers like those in Greece, and spiritual leaders often sought out quiet places, mountains, deserts, secluded temples. They believed silence helped them think more clearly, helped them understand big questions about life, and helped them connect with their deeper selves. It wasn't about avoiding the world, but about understanding it better by first understanding their own minds. Think about it like this. Your mind can sometimes feel like a really busy classroom during lunch, right? Everyone is talking, laughing, moving around. It's hard to focus on one thought. But when the bell rings and the room quiets down, suddenly you can hear yourself think. You can remember what you needed to do, or a new idea might pop into your head. That quiet time lets your brain sort things out without all the distractions. It clears the path for understanding. So maybe silence isn't just a lack of noise. Maybe it's a kind of wisdom, a calm strength. It offers us a chance to truly process our day, to feel what we're feeling without judgment, and to discover new perspectives we might miss in all the usual hustle and bustle. It lets us become more aware of ourselves and the world around us, and that's why it matters. What makes a moment truly special? Have you ever had a moment that just stuck with you? Not a huge birthday party or a big trip, but something small. Maybe the way the light hit a tree, or a song playing at just the right time, or a quiet laugh shared with someone you care about. What is it about these everyday flashes that makes them sparkle in our memory? Here's the thing, a truly special moment isn't always about what happens. Often, it's about how we feel and how present we are. Think about it. People have wondered about this for thousands of years. Ancient Greek thinkers, like the Stoics, talked about focusing on the present. They believed that a good life came from appreciating what's right in front of us, instead of always chasing what's next. It's like our minds can be everywhere but here. And those special moments pull us back. Imagine you're walking home from school. Usually, you might be thinking about homework or what's for dinner, but then, for a second, you notice something. Maybe it's the smell of rain, or a particular shade of orange in the sunset, or the sound of birds. And for that short time, you're not planning or worrying. You're just there. You're fully experiencing that one tiny piece of the world. And that's why it matters that our brains are pretty amazing. They often highlight things that are new or carry a lot of feeling. When we pause and really take something in, we're telling our brain, hey, this is important. It's like a camera focusing on one specific thing, blurring everything else out. This doesn't mean the other moments aren't real, but it means we weren't present enough for them to become special. So, maybe a special moment isn't found. It's made by how deeply we choose to feel and see it. And that thought can actually change how we move through our days. Why do we sometimes feel lonely? Have you ever been in a crowded room, full of laughter and noise, but still felt a quiet ache inside, like you were the only one there? Or maybe you're just at home, totally by yourself, and a heavy, empty feeling settles over you. That's loneliness. It's not just about being alone. You can be alone and feel perfectly fine, even peaceful. Loneliness is when you want connection, but you don't feel like you have it. It's a deep human feeling of being disconnected from others, even when they're nearby. Here's the thing. Humans are built for connection. For thousands of years, our ancestors survived by sticking together in tribes and communities. They hunted together, shared stories by the fire, and protected each other from dangers. Being alone was often dangerous. So, this feeling of loneliness, it's like an ancient alarm bell ringing inside us. It tells us we need our tribe, our people, our friends. Philosophers through time have talked about how important belonging is. They saw that a person needs others to truly thrive, to feel complete in the world. Think of it like this. Your body tells you when you're hungry, right? Your stomach rumbles. Or when you're tired, your eyelids get heavy and you want to rest. Well, loneliness is a bit like social hunger or connection, tiredness. Your mind is telling you, hey, I need some human connection. It's your brain's way of gently nudging you to reach out, to find someone to share a thought with, or just to be near. It's a signal, not a failing, showing a basic human need. And that's why it matters. When that feeling comes, it's a quiet reminder of how deeply we need each other. It shows us that we are all part of a bigger, interconnected human story, always seeking warmth and understanding from others. It's a feeling that gently points us back to the comfort of shared smiles, meaningful conversations, or simply knowing someone genuinely cares. It's completely okay to feel it. In fact, it just means you're truly human, forever longing for that vital connection. What if the world was one big school? What if every single moment, every person we meet, every challenge we face, was just part of an enormous, sprawling lesson? Imagine a school with no walls, no bells, no assigned seats, just the whole wide world, constantly teaching us, always offering a new kind of class. This isn't like sitting in a classroom with textbooks. This is about learning from living. Think about the old thinkers, like the ancient Greek philosophers. People like Socrates believed that real wisdom wasn't just found in books. It came from looking at life itself. They thought we learned by asking endless questions, by truly watching the world, and by understanding ourselves. For them, every experience was a chance to grow, a chance to understand something deeper about what it means to be human. Here's the thing. You already do this. Remember when you learned to ride a bike? No one gave you a test on balance physics. You fell, you scraped your knee, you got back on. The pavement, the wind, your own fear and determination, they were all your teachers. Or when you had a disagreement with a friend, that uncomfortable feeling, that moment of working things out, teaches you about communication, about empathy. It's a lesson in human connection, and it stays with you more than any lecture. And that's why it matters. What if even the hardest times, the moments of sadness or confusion, are just the toughest lessons? They feel like tests we didn't ask for, but they change us. They make us see things differently, make us stronger in ways we couldn't have imagined. Maybe the goal isn't to get a perfect grade in this world. Maybe it's just to keep showing up, to keep observing, to keep your heart open, even when the lessons feel overwhelming. To understand that every single day is a chance to learn something new, about yourself, and about the amazing, complex world around you. Where does curiosity take us? Have you ever just stopped and really wondered about something small? That tiny spark inside you, that quiet pull to know more, that's curiosity. It's not just about wanting answers. It's about the feeling of reaching past what you already see or hear. For thousands of years, people have felt this same pull. Ancient thinkers, long before books or schools existed, looked up at the stars and asked, why are they there? Or they watched a river flow and wondered, where does it go? This feeling, this need to question is how we began to understand the world around us. It led to discoveries, both big and small, all because someone just had to know. Think about a time you saw a tiny insect, maybe a ladybug, crawling on a leaf. At first, it's just a bug, but then your mind might go, how does it move its legs so fast? Why is it red with black spots? What does it eat? And from that one tiny question, a whole world of new questions opens up. You might even start wondering about the leaf, the plant, or the soil it grows in. This isn't just about finding facts, it's about a journey. It's about letting your mind wander and explore possibilities, even if they seem silly at first. Sometimes, the questions themselves are more important than the answers we find. There would push us forward. Curiosity takes us beyond what we already know and what we're comfortable with. It helps us see the magic in everyday things, to understand ourselves and others a little better. It reminds us that there's always something more to learn, more to feel, more to connect with. And in that search, we find not just knowledge, but a deeper sense of wonder for this incredible, complicated world we live in. What's the secret to happiness? Have you ever stopped to wonder, really wonder, what makes someone truly happy? It's a question people have asked for thousands of years. We all want to feel good, to feel light, like everything is just right. But what exactly is that feeling, and how do we find it? Here's the thing, there isn't one hidden secret, like a treasure map to joy. For a long time, thinkers like the ancient Greeks believed happiness wasn't just about feeling good for a moment. They thought it was about living a life that felt full and meaningful, where you used your strengths and treated others well. It was about being a good person, doing good things, and finding purpose. That sounds kind of deep, right? But it just means feeling good because you're living in a way that matters to you. Think about it like this. Imagine you're trying to learn a new skill, like playing guitar or scoring a tricky goal in soccer. When you're focused, completely lost in that moment, not thinking about anything else but the string you're plucking or the ball you're dribbling, that's a tiny spark of happiness. You're challenged, you're growing, and you're fully there. It's not about the goal you score or the song you play perfectly. It's about the journey of trying, learning, and getting better. Scientists even call this a flow state. It's when you're so into what you're doing, time seems to disappear. So, maybe happiness isn't a destination we arrive at, like a vacation spot. It's more like the little discoveries along the way. It's in those moments when you're truly engaged, when you connect with someone, or when you feel like you're doing something important. It's not about being cheerful all the time, because that's not real life. Instead, it's about finding meaning in the everyday. It's about building small pockets of peace and purpose, one day at a time. It's a quiet knowing that your life holds value, even in the messy parts. Why do we ask questions at all? Have you ever stopped to think why we ask anything? It's not always about finding a quick answer. Sometimes, a question feels like a gentle nudge inside us, a quiet whisper that makes us wonder. It's a deep, human feeling, like breathing or dreaming. We look at the world around us, at the stars above, or a tiny bug on a leaf, and a question just rises up, soft and unbidden. This urge to ask is incredibly old. Long, long ago, people like ancient Greek thinkers spent their whole lives just asking why. They knew that wondering was how we started to understand the world and ourselves. Even if the answers weren't easy to find, it's how we push past what we already know. Think about a little kid, maybe a younger sibling or a cousin. They ask why, about everything. Why is the grass green? Why do dogs bark? Why do I have to go to bed? That endless why isn't annoying. It's pure curiosity. It's the first spark of learning, a tiny fire burning brightly. That spark never really goes away. It just gets quieter sometimes. We ask questions because we feel a gap between what we know and what we want to know. It's a gentle pull, a yearning for something more, a desire to connect the dots, to feel a bit less lost. It's how we explore the unknown, not just out there in space, but also deep inside our own hearts and minds. Sometimes, asking a question feels like reaching out in the dark, hoping to find something solid, something real to hold on to. It's about more than just facts. It's about belonging, about understanding our place in the big, wide world. It's about the journey of looking, even if the destination isn't clear. So, when you ask a question, even one that seems silly or goes nowhere, you're not just seeking an answer, you're living out a part of what it means to be human, to wonder, to explore, to feel, and to quietly, bravely, seek meaning. What if there are no answers? Have you ever asked a question, a really big one, and then wondered what if there just isn't an answer? It's a strange, almost scary thought, isn't it? We grow up believing every problem has a solution, every question a correct reply. But here's the thing, some of life's deepest puzzles might not have a clear yes or no waiting for us. Think about it. Long, long ago, people like the ancient Greek thinkers spent their lives asking huge questions. Questions about the stars, about why we're here, about what happens after we die. They didn't always find answers that everyone agreed on, but they kept asking, and by asking, they changed how everyone thought. They understood that the search itself, the act of wondering, was powerful. It pushed them to look closer, to think harder. Even if the final destination was a mystery, it's like trying to understand why a song makes you feel a certain way. You can talk about the instruments, the lyrics, the rhythm, but the feeling, that deep emotional tug, sometimes you can't perfectly explain it. It just is. Or consider the vastness of space. We've learned so much about planets and galaxies, but what came before the Big Bang? What's truly beyond the edge of the universe, if there even is an edge? These aren't just questions, they are invitations to wonder, to imagine. So, what if the magic isn't in finding every answer, but in learning to live with the questions? Maybe it's about accepting that some things will always remain a mystery, and that's okay. It teaches us to be humble, to keep our minds open, and to appreciate the beauty of the unknown. It shows us that simply asking, simply being curious, can be a journey all its own, full of its own kind of understanding.